Wow. Johnny, how we doing? Hell of a week, eh, John? Did it get any better by the end of it here?
You don't need to yell, by the way.
Oh,
The neighborhood can hear you.
John's talking to you. Go figure. Go figure. I wait till a little bit later in the evening to do a live. And some guy down the block, I don't live on a block, but some guy down the road decides he's going to break out his riding more. Holy crap, Pat. What'd you do? Did you go to sleep and then get up for this? Sandra, good evening. Oh. Sandra, go give Robin a kick. If he's not awake, kick him anyway, just for the hell of it. You're still awake, Patrick. Jesus. What is it? It's 2 o'clock there. Mr. Best, look what I got here, boy. Look at that. Can't get those in the U.S. That's a Monte Cristo, an Open Eagle, and that's what we're going to smoke tonight. And we've got another Monte Cristo here. This one's a 1935 DeMoss. If you're a good boy, actually, if you're a good boy, I might find my way to send you a couple of these down. Trust me, when you see the smile on my face when I light this fucker, well worth the moment. Well worth the fucking moment. I just sprayed myself with bug spray and I got it all over my, it's in my beard and it's all over. I just licked my lips. I got off deep woods in my fucking mouth. Excuse me. That was pretty gross. Donald, glad you're here. Tanana. Freedom. Hey, Best, that was a hell of a deal on Spectre over last night. I had to tune in and out. I was having problems from where I was, but I tried to catch most of it. It was that was a hell of a deal. Everybody came together. Yeah, yeah. Reminded me, boy, of back in the old days. Not like these days, but back in the old days when we took care of one another. Somebody's family was, in trouble. Somebody else had a problem. Somebody was this. Nobody asked what's in it for me. Everybody just went and said, fuck it, let's fix it. And that's the feeling I got last night. I don't know about you, but that's what I was feeling. Rhonda, how are you? Sorry, I got my mouth full. And before anybody jumps on me, yes, I know you're supposed to light a proper cigar with a match, but I'm too lazy. I don't want to take the time. Jesus. Susan, glad you're here. Good to see you too. I like the one you got. What's that, butane, James? I like that one. That thing's a bloody torch. $2.40 a liter. Yeah, we go What do we get? What are we at? 243?
Mm-hmm.
For you Americans, that's like 7.80 a gallon. 7.80 a gallon. That's what we're paying for fuel up here right now. Hell of a night. Who was that? Sandra, anything goes, Brian? Yeah, I guess so tonight, anything goes. We've been doing the no talking. Yeah, you got nothing to cry about, James. Well, you still cry about 6. I got a friend of mine, he got it for $4.90 in Wisconsin this morning. But yeah, 6 still hurts. Try getting it for $7.80, $7.90. That hurts really bad. I filled my truck. I went from Toronto to Moncton, Nova Scotia, or Moncton, New Brunswick, back to Cornwall. 1,555 miles. Cost me $18.80 in fuel to fill my tank today. $1,880 for one fill up. So to get back to Sandra's question, yeah, I guess I've been talking about
It's so boring.
no politics, but I guess if everybody got something to say tonight, we'll listen to it. Please remember, this is a trucking channel. We try to get to it. I know a lot of you guys aren't truck drivers, and I appreciate that you hang out and that you come on to here and you guys watch the videos. I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, you know, I drive a truck for a living. My wife and I run a business for a living, and this is what we do. And well, Robin, get on it, or get on her. Fill the tank, boy. What are you doing? Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh. Look at this, eh? Go figure, eh? Go figure. Nice quiet, and you could hear a grasshopper chirping in the back here 10 minutes ago before I started this. 10 minutes ago before I started this. And now this guy down the end of the street here, he's got his riding mower, and the guy over here just shut his off. Jesus Christ, I go to live out in the country to get away from it. And it's Saturday night. These guys got nothing better to do?
That's probably what our neighbors are thinking about your loud chat.
Well, that's how the neighbors are going, yeah, look at this big mouth sitting on the back of his deck. You know? This big mouth sitting on the back of his fucking deck. You can hear him all clear, what, 2 counties over? Probably, eh?
Yeah.
I don't care. That's an orgasm for the mouth right there, boys and girls. So did any of you guys watch that, is DEF cost anymore? I don't know what DEF cost. For some reason on the pump that I used this morning, it didn't show me the price of the DEF. I think it's about $2.10, $2.15, something like that. It's not fantastic either. A liter, $2.15 a liter. It's nothing great, nothing fantastic. Any of you guys watched that video though I put up about the Flying J and the pilots and what's coming down the pipe and what they've been asked to do? If you think we're paying more, well, this is for the truck drivers. If you think we're paying more now, Jesus Christ, Justin Pump, eh? Yeah, Justin Pump is right. So yeah. Now, what do you think of that? Did anybody here read between the lines, or am I just a conspiracy theorist? Yeah, you know what? Honest to God, that's a really good question. Silver Stacker, why are the politicians still breathing is the question of the year. In Canada, I don't have a clue. I can guarantee you this, though. If we were in the United States and their politicians behaved like ours have, some redneck down in southern Alabama somewhere would have pulled out a rifle with a long scope and some of these guys would have been gone. Some of these guys would have been gone. I guarantee you. It's just that there's nobody up here to do it. Nobody up here to do it. So the Flying J and pilot, the CEO came on and I guess they were doing some kind of inquiry or whatever you want to call it. And he said that was it BFS or BDS or whatever, the main railway down there, has asked them to cut their fuel order, this is for diesel fuel, by 26%, meaning that they're now going to get, it wasn't a request saying, oh, can you please? It was basically saying you need to cut your request, or basically this is what we're doing. And you're telling me that none of us can see between the lines here of what's going on? I don't know. I'll throw that at you guys. And Curtis, glad you're here. Good talking to you last night, bro. Are you telling me that the government, or at some level, does not have a hand in this? We all know Biden, the Biden administration, and the Trudeau, whatever you want to fucking call that, the administration, the WEF, all of these assholes are literally pushing for the electric cars and the electric trucks, and they're wanting to go electric. Right? All of them. And that's on the agenda. It's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day, but it's coming down the pipe, and that's what they want. And that's what's going to happen here, and that's what's happening. They're going to squeeze. I'm going to squeeze that fucker's head if he doesn't shut his lawnmower off. But anyway, they're going to squeeze until it's squeezed so tight until it's to the point where you can't fuel your truck. Like I said, I put $1,800 worth of fuel in my truck this morning. Say, Kelly. And $1,800. $1,800, and that was for 3/4 the tank. I had a quarter tank of fuel. $1,800. They're going to squeeze us so tight that we just can't afford to run diesel trucks or run diesel cars or run fucking gas or anything. Anything. And here's the thing. I'll throw this at you, okay? I may not have this in the right order. I don't claim to be the world's smartest guy, but what do they make batteries out of, folks? They make batteries out of lithium. Right. It looks like Mr. B is already on track with this one, aren't you? Right. So they have lithium. What do they make the batteries out of? Lithium. Where do they get the lithium, Mr. B? Well, we can't wait for you to type. They pull it out of the ground, so it's got to be mined. So now they've got $1 billion worth of equipment mining, diesel-operated equipment, mining this lithium out of the ground to stick it on a goddamn ship that probably burns out about 8,000 gallons of diesel an hour, bring it across to here, and then it gets trucked, and then they go to a plant, and then they make a battery out of it, and the battery is only going to last you 5 years, and then we get a battery that's poisonous. What are we going to do with that? We're going to put that in the ground? What are we going to do, launch them into fucking space? What are we doing with the batteries, folks? Because if you think about long term, you think about all the cars and trucks that are on the road, let's just say we cut that in half, and we just say right now in this population day and age, we had 50% of our cars and trucks were running on lithium batteries, and you get 3 to 5 years out of them, depending on how hard you drive them. How long are they lasting? And then what are you doing with them? I can't just take a lithium battery out of a truck, and actually there's 4 of them as far as in the Volvos that I was checking out. What are you going to do? You know what, Curtis, you're probably right. They're going to come up with a plan. They'll store it like nuclear waste. They'll start digging digging out caves out of mountainsides and start storing it there. But tell me how that's helping the planet. Honestly, tell me how that's helping the planet or helping the environment. Why? Because they want to take emissions out of the air, or out of the atmosphere. So they're willing to sacrifice the ground and the earth for the air, for the atmosphere. Well, you might have a point, because I can't breathe dirt and I can't breathe ground. but I do have to live on it. We do have to plant food in it, and we do all of our food that grows that we have all walks around on it. Now, if the ground is poisonous, we can't grow crops. We can't have our livestock. We can't. So which way is it going to go? What's the bigger evil here? Screw plan playbook. Lithium mines. Yeah, I didn't know that. Nothing grows. Mining lithium should not be left in the ground untouched. Agreed. There are other ways to do this. You know what? If they wanted to say they wanted to take a swing at this with fucking solar, hey man, look around up here in Canada. We've got what's Robert. I call it Bob Transport, but Robert Transport, right? Robert. 90% of their trucks all got solar panels all the way up the hood and right up the fairing, up the top, right above the dashboard. 90% of them. I'm not 100% sure how that setup's working and what they're using it for, but it's got to be good for something. They got to be doing something right with it. Robert Transport, yeah. Bob, we call him Bob Transport in Canada, right? But Curtis, you're Canadian, so you had to have seen them. I know you've seen them. Is that what they use to run their APUs? They run those solar panels? That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if the solar panel, I don't know if you'd get enough electricity, or you'd get enough energy stored from those solar panels. Is that, you mean they're using the solar panels to charge the batteries on their APUs, or they're actually drawing power off the solar panels? Because I've looked at them before, and I can't see that those solar panels draw enough, will suck in enough sunlight and enough energy to run an APU. It might top up the batteries if you're sitting around, but I don't know. It's a good question. The next time I can find a guy that'll be willing to speak English to me from Robert, I'll throw that at him and find out. We need to hunt down the UFOs. They got it figured out. Somebody's got it fucking figured out. It ain't us, James. Jesus. Not us. When it comes to shit like this, I try to know as little as possible, but it seeps in. Every once in a while, my hard drive leaks a little out this side, and I get a little more space for energy or for information. It just crams my head full of shit. Hydrogen makes more sense. You're right, Silver, but I think, again, Robert has run in hydrogen, and Cat runs hydrogen. They can't get long-term success with it. They're great, sort of like the battery powered right now. They're great for regional, anything 500 or less. But you don't see a lot of guys with the Cat or Robert with the hydrogen trucks. You don't see a lot of them doing the long. You won't see many of them running down to Texas or out to the West Coast or anything like that. Most of them stay pretty local. And from what I understand, now again, I've never driven one, but from what I understand is you lose about 35% of your horsepower running on hydrogen. I guess the burn isn't as good as, say, diesel is. Curtis, that's a loaded question. You really, really want me to? I will, but if you really want it answered. Fuck it, I'll answer it. My opinion on the new Canadians and what they're talking about are the immigrants. And yeah, this is the first time in my mouth. I gotta watch my mouth. There's nothing wrong with the immigrants. Canada is a country, we need some immigration. We need people to come in. We need people to do jobs. We need the tax dollars. We need the revenue. We need even the United States, it doesn't matter what country it is, you need a certain amount of immigrants to come in every year. Now, a couple of the problems, we've got several problems with the trucking industry and immigration. First of all, they're all coming in on LMI, well, not all of them, but the ones that are coming in on LMIAs, and that's where they're the sponsored, where a trucking company will sponsor you and bring you in. A lot of the trucking companies, and now, first of all, to qualify for that, you have to be a truck driver in your own country. So if you're, for example, you're coming from India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkey, Poland, Switzerland, whatever, Germany, you need to be a truck driver in your country, and that's your career, and that's what you need to be doing. And you need to be able to prove that. And then LMIA, or a company here, will apply for LMIA, and they will bring you in and give you a job here. The problem is there are too many shady companies here that aren't doing the checking and the researching that are required to find out if they were an actual truck driver, because at one point, and Ronan did a video on this about a year ago. Now, I'm not going to give you the percentage numbers because I don't remember them, okay? But it was a really ridiculous high percentage of guys that once they got over here, it was discovered that they had never in their lives ever driven a fucking truck. So last week, the guy was riding a camel across the desert, and this week he's got 18 wheels rolling. We got a problem. So that was one problem. The second problem is the schools, the teaching, the education. It's too easy to get a license here. And because we have a need, we've got a huge need for truck drivers in Canada, probably as bad as they did need them in the States. Companies over here are willing to take people that aren't trained properly. Now, I know the federal government now has made it mandatory that you gotta take a course. So what happened? Well, it wasn't mandatory, but it was always better that you took a course. So what happened is a bunch of immigrants came over. They weren't on the best, they weren't on the up and up. They opened up a bunch of truck driving schools. A bunch of other immigrants come through. They all came through, and within 2 weeks, they were going for their license. Because literally, to get your driver's license with an A-class license, it's not hard. If you can take a tractor trailer and keep the wheels off the curb, not drag the bogies across the curb, and you can back it in fairly straight, they give you your license. And that's a sad, sad fact, folks. It really is in this country. So the schools got set up, and they were just pumping people through. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Now, all these guys, for about how many years this was going on, were just piling up equipment. Brian's not stressed, Tahara. I'm answering a question very carefully. They were piling up equipment at a ridiculous rate. At a ridiculous rate. They were absolutely just piling it up, tearing up the highways. Not only in the U.S., but I mean, like, come on, guys. If you're a Canadian driver, you guys know that every year between January and March, we rack up no less than 12, 15 pileups on the 401 between Cobourg and Montreal. Right? What is it? When they come in here in the winter, 90% of these immigrants have never seen a snowflake, and like I said, now they're driving an 18-wheeler, and they don't govern their trucks. So you've given some guy a weapon, literally, 80,000-pound weapon, pointed him in the direction, wound him up and pointed him in the direction you want him to fucking go. And now we got problems. So then what happens? Well, then the government's going, well, look at this. We got 1,000 people a week dying here on the highways. We need to do something. So now the government has decided to step in and put their 2 bits in. Well, that's never a good thing. You know, if they would have put, in my opinion, if they'd have put together like an independent panel and used people from truck drivers, coordinators, from the trucking industry and said, what do you guys that are experienced, what do you guys see as the problem, and what do we need to do to fix this? And maybe taken some of our advice and some of our input, you know what, this might have been able to get fixed. But no, a bunch of pencil-pushing, cocksucking, twinkle-toed motherfuckers sitting in a chair somewhere in an office in Ottawa who've never driven a truck, who probably don't even drive their own cars because they got little red license plates and they get driven around the city and back and forth by limousine. These guys are making policy for us and it doesn't work. So that's what I think of. Curtis, that's the best you're going to get out of me. James, I agree with that as well. And I think that our government up here, I don't know how, I don't have a clue how it works for you guys for the training and everything up here. One of the good things they did do for the Canadian is they went to, I think they went to the graduated licensing, right? It's 5 years before you can get a full driver's license up here. So it's 16, you get your G1. What is it, Dar? You got to keep that for a minimum of a year?
8 months to a year.
8 months, yeah. If you take a driving course, then you can get your G2 in 8 months. If you don't, then it's a year. And then you get your G2. So basically it's staggered so that by the time that you got your full license and you've got all of your privileges, and that's what they are, you've got some experience, and you've got experience that's been built up to you. When I went and got my driver's license, I was 16 years old, and we didn't have like graduated licensing. We had something that was called a 365, right? So you'd go write the test for your 365, and then you didn't have to wait. You book your driving test the next day.
Why call it a 365? 365 should be a year.
You're right, but there was no year on it. You didn't have to wait the year. It was only good for a year. So then you get your 365, and then you could book your driver's license the next day. And I did. My dad was with me, and we came out of the office, went out to the car. I filled out this other paperwork. I went back in and booked my road test for the next day. So that's how we do that. Nowadays, it's graduated. Now I've got G1 for a year, G2 for a year, then G.
You can get it in 2, but you have up to 5.
You have up to 5, though, Curtis. Right? I think after 5, I think you got to start all over or something.
You do.
Yeah. But you have up to 5, but you can get your G in 2 years. You can do your G1 in a year and your G2 in a year. Sorry, I should have clarified that. Right? And then in the 3rd year, you can get your G. Now, a G1 is what? You're not allowed to drive on 400 series highway, so any highway over 80.
No, G1 is with a person in their car.
Yeah, but you still can't drive on the highway.
No.
And you need a qualified driver in the vehicle with you. G2, you're allowed to drive alone. I still don't think you're allowed to drive on. Are you allowed to drive on the highways?
With Madison's license right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a teacher.
Yeah. Okay. So you're allowed to drive on the license. Oh, and G1s, I don't think you're allowed to drive at night. I think you're only allowed to drive from dawn to dusk, a half hour before and a half hour after. So I think that's how that works. I'll be honest with you, and this is not going to be a popular thing I'm going to say here. I think, at least in Canada, I think they should have graduated licensing for truck drivers. How the fuck we would work that out? Hey, Johnny, how we would work that out, I don't have a clue. Yeah, but James, you guys must be more sophisticated or something, because we got 16-year-olds up here that if we handed them a full G class, like a full G license, like a full driver's license, if I gave one of these kids 16-year-olds up here a license at 16 on Monday, I guarantee you they wouldn't make it till Friday before there was a problem.
Zach has a question because he's not on very long.
Somewhat?
Zach.
Oh, Zach's got a question. Sorry, Zach.
He wanted to know how the fuel prices are going to affect us as drivers and what should we prepare for.
How are the fuel prices going to affect the drivers? Well, if you're a company driver, it's not going to affect you at all. It's going to affect your company. It may affect you getting a raise. If you're an owner operator, boys and girls, if you're an owner operator, it's time to buckle up. At $7.80 a gallon in Canada, the U.S. are around the $6 mark right now. Man, this is the time where guys like me are glad that I got out of my W9. I got away from the less fuel efficient trucks. I'm actually glad I'm driving an aerodynamic 8.5 mile gallon truck. Yeah, I'm paying ridiculous price for fuel, but can you imagine if I was driving that 90, if I still had the 97 W9? God damn, I look good, but I can't afford to go anywhere. Yeah, groceries are getting expensive. Dude, everything is getting expensive. Everything. These are getting expensive. Lucky for me, the only reason I'm smoking this one, because this one, if I bought this in Canada, this is a $55 cigar. Lucky for me that my daughter and my son-in-law, they just got off the plane from Cuba last night, and my humidor is now stocked. So that's the only reason I'm enjoying this right now. I am not paying 50. I don't make that kind of money. I don't have Trump money. I don't have like fucking Musk money. I don't have that. So the only reason, and usually I smoke a lot harder than this, and I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna take this one real slow, because if I bought this is like taking a $50 bill and lighting it on fire, and that's what you got. It's not just fuel and groceries. People, look around you. Look around you. Everything has gone up. The price of everything has gone up. Like that. I bet you 2 years ago I could buy that for $2. It's $6 now. And that's for a small can. Look at the size of this goddamn thing. My cigar is almost bigger than this thing is. $6. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. If it's in your house and you had to go to Walmart, Costco, fucking Kmart, Zellers, whatever, and you bought it, I guarantee you, you didn't pay the same, you didn't buy that same object 2 years ago for what you're paying now. And the price of fuel, to get back to Zach, the price of fuel, it's gonna push a lot of owner operators either to hang them up before they go broke. In the States, they run their businesses a little differently. Up here, better chance of survival, because the rates, those guys, most of those guys work on rates. They're not paid by the mile. They don't run by the mile, and they are set up differently. So when something like this happens, rates fluctuate and move, and they can adjust a lot. They have a lot more room to make adjustments, whereas we don't. Okay. I've got a truck payment to make, and I've got a fuel bill to pay, and I've got a shop bill to pay, and that's pretty much all I pay. And I'm set up that way with the company that I'm leased on to. Okay, I own my truck. I'm not leased through the company. I didn't lease the truck from the company. I own my own truck. I've leased onto this company, and I work for them. They take care of the dispatching. They pay for the plates, the stickers, the insurance. I pay nothing except the fuel. I pay my IFTA. I pay a buy-down insurance, because the insurance up here is ridiculous, and I'm not paying a $10,000 fucking deductible. That's crazy. Massive boobs. You only eat lettuce. Well, you know what? A lot of us won't be far behind you. Let me tell you. But I'll be honest with you, Zach. I'm really glad that you made those changes. You made the changes you did now, instead of waiting 6 months, or instead of keeping going the way you were going. Because I made a comment to Jeremy about 3 months ago, while you were running around like a maniac, blowing money like it's going out of style. I made a joke. It wasn't even a joke. I was almost serious. I was going, if Zach keeps going the way he's going, I'm going to be buying his truck off him at a real discounted price. I'll be getting a 2022 international LT at a discounted price, because you would have had to sell it. I'm glad you made those changes. I'm glad they're working for you. We're going to let you run like that for another couple of months, and then you're going to come back to me, and we're going to take all the data that you've got, okay, from Bruce, and we're going to take it all, and we're going to look at it again and see if we can tweak you here and there, and see where else we can make some tweaks. Believe me, my own business The only thing I've got left to tweak is my own nipples right now. There is nothing left to tweak. I have tightened the belt in just about every department that I possibly can, without getting cheap and cheaping out, because you still gotta have money to function. You still need money for repairs. You still need to have cash in the bank. I need a James Best shirt. You know what? It's funny. I saw Nevada. He did a video. What, last week or the week before? He was wearing the world's best James Best shirt. It looked pretty good in him. I thinking I might get one of them. I'm thinking I'll get him one. I'll buy one off of him, but I'll send him one of mine for free. But he's got to wear mine on his show.
So why don't you just trade shirts? Zach will call you later this week.
Canada shipping is crazy high. Dude, you don't want to know what it cost me to do you know what it costs to ship from Canada down to you? For those cigars, you don't want to know what that cost. It was well worth the money. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'll do it again anytime you want them, but Jesus Christ. It cost me more to ship them than the cigars were worth. Any day, I tell you what, any day now, or I'm thinking Monday, some of these mandates are going to lift, because
What's happening Monday again?
yeah, Monday they're putting something through the House of Commons. The Conservatives are putting something through the House of Commons. They're not pressuring Trudeau, but they are appealing to his better side to get him to go back to pre-COVID conditions for travel. Because we've got way too many. The airports are suffering. The trains are suffering. Anybody in the travel industry are suffering. It's too hard. Like, we're gonna lose billions in what do you call that? Fucking people coming here, right? People coming here to vacation. They're not gonna come.
But they want to.
Well, Trudeau, you're right. They're going to lose a lot. They're losing a lot of money, and I think they've got a lot of these people to come in. The science, they got doctors. They got doctors lined up from here to fucking the moon. Every one of them ready to tell Trudeau that you're wrong. We're right. You're wrong. Your science is wrong. There's no bloody way. So hopefully we'll hear something on Monday. They're putting it through on Monday to see if it goes through, to see if it works out. And if it does, and we can cross, then you know what? I'll be crossing. I'll be back to work crossing the state, crossing the border. The minute I'm allowed. The minute I'm allowed. And the first place I'm going is to Best's house, and I want a shirt. I want a shirt. I'll come get it, James. You don't have to ship it, you cheap prick. I'll come get my fucking shirt. I'll go 200 miles out of my way. I'll burn $250 worth of fuel to come get your fucking $29 shirt. And I'll even bring you a cigar. Who bought a membership?
We did.
To who?
Pierre.
To Pierre? Mm-hmm. We bought a fucking membership to Pierre?
Yeah, so that he can get in, then we can vote for him. And you just put your name under there too.
My wife fucking put my name under. Holy Christ! Of course, she leaves it to now to fucking tell everybody.
I already told you.
NDPA ain't it, Curtis. You're goddamn right. I will be voting Conservative. And again, guys, I've said this 1,000 times. It doesn't matter whether it's Canadian politics, American politics, Australian politics, British politics. It doesn't matter. Pat over in Germany politics. It makes no goddamn difference. You do not vote for the politician you like the most.
Then why are we voting for?
You vote for the one that you dislike the least. Think about that. You find the politicians, you do your fucking homework, and you find the ones that are going to do the least amount of damage. Yeah, I know, Robin, I know, but I'm not lighting with wood matches tonight. Now, and that's my view on politics. I don't like any politicians. I think the whole lot of them should be wiped out. We should start from scratch, right? Because all of the politicians that we've got are politicians, they're career politicians. And look where we're sitting. Wipe them out. Get them out. Bring in a whole new breed. People that don't have a political agenda. Every single one of these motherfuckers that are in office right now, every one of them, okay, the minute they win the election, the first thing they think about, or first thing they do is they forget about all of the shit that they promised to do. And the first thing they think about is, how am I going to get reelected? It doesn't matter. Canadian, American, makes no goddamn fucking difference. It makes no difference whatsoever. I guarantee you. Don't tread on me. Well, we don't have the fireworks, firearms up here like you guys down in North Carolina, but I wish we did. I'll be honest with you, because I agree with the way the Americans have their constitution and their right to bear arms. And if in Canada I was allowed to, I would be armed. How am I going to get rich while I'm in office? Well, you don't really need to get rich while you're in office. It's the bullshit you're gonna get after you get out of office. Most of these guys come in for 4 years or 5 years, and then they retire. Like, let's say an MP. An MP, once they retire, do you know they get a pension for life? All they have to do is come in for 4 years. Imagine working for 4 years at a fucking job and you get a pension from us for the rest of your life. My God, I picked the wrong goddamn industry. 31 years driving truck. You know where I'd be if I went into politics? Christ, man. You're right, Curtis. You can. But, can you put that gun on your hip? Can I put my Glock on my hip in a holster and walk down the street with it? Nope. Can't do that. Would I like to? Yep. Would I if I was allowed? Yep. Right. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with the Conservatives. I was kind of holding out for the new blue.
No, honey, you're mixing them up.
No, the new blue is for Ontario, right? I think I'm gonna vote new blue in Ontario. I'm not voting Conservative in Ontario, but for federal, I am voting Conservative. I'm gonna back Pierre. Although he did not answer my challenge, prick. But I will vote for him. I see him as the least amount of damage. Okay, and you know what? He talks a good talk. He does. And you know what? I would almost vote for him just for the amount of damage he's done to Trudeau. For the trash talking in the House of Commons that he throws over at Trudeau and makes him look bad, I'd almost vote for him just for that. That alone is almost worth the vote.
Oh, what the hell?
Too high?
You almost burnt my face off.
Yeah, okay. We're sitting out here by the fire. I had it going before, but as it's getting darker, you'll be able to see it. You're wondering why my face is glowing? No, I'm not radioactive. We got a fire going here. I should talk to Rage in the Cage about Pierre. I don't know who the hell that is.
Mr. B.
You like the woman I've got? She's a firecracker. The problem is turning her off. Once you light a firecracker, you can't turn it off. That's the problem. When am I coming down to Waterloo? No, Curtis, I'm up just north of No, I'm Stone Mills, so I'm just north of. I'm between Napanee and Kingston. And Callie, I don't know when I'm coming down to Cambridge.
Oh, message Yvette.
Let Dar and Yvette work that out. You and I have no business working out schedules of when we're going to visit each other. That's our wives' business. Like, besides, you and I would set it up and they change it anyway. The woman in the House of Commons. There's been a couple of women in the House of Commons that have torn him a new ass.
Melissa Landsman's.
Melissa Landsman, isn't she RMP?
No, she's Vaughn's.
Vaughn's, okay. Melissa Landsman, she's been a firecracker. Candice Bergen, she gave him a good tear for a while there. I think most of it's just been Pierre. I think everybody else has just been sitting back and letting Pierre tear that up.
Oh, Candice Bergen, yeah.
Candice Bergen, yeah. Yeah, Robin, yeah, hold on here. I'll give you my credit card number. I don't need to know what you want it for. You just go ahead, okay? Why? Westcott, well, thanks for stopping in, brother. Get back to work. So what else was there? There was price of fuel.
I don't know.
That goddamn, the Flying J thing is going to hurt us so bad. That is going to hurt us so bad. They account for what is it? 1/3 or something of all the diesel fuel on the highways being sold. That is ridiculous. That is a lot of fucking fuel that they're going to lose, that they're going to cut out.
Kelly wants to know if that guy wrote you back. No.
No.
I'm going to go look.
No. Jason. You mean Jason. The guy that, the guy that didn't like me? Whatever. Hey, man, if you don't like me and you've got, I say something here that you don't agree with, don't send me a fucking email, please, people. If you don't like something I've said, or even if you don't like me, or you don't like my wife, you don't like my dog, I don't give a shit. If you've got something to say it right here. I'll give you all the time you want. I'll shut my mouth for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however much time you want, and I will give you as much time as you want to say your piece about anything that I've said. Don't send me emails telling me I'm stupid and telling me I'm an idiot and telling me I don't know what I'm talking about and telling. If that's the best you're going to do and be a keyboard warrior, save your time and energy. Really. FDS Transport. What advice do you have for a new driver in Alberta? Get into the oil field, bro.
Or animal.
What? Or livestock, yeah. Or livestock. If you're running Alberta, get into the oil field. I got a couple of friends up there right now. They're not owner-operators. FDS Transport, are you an owner-operator or are you a company guy? That also makes a difference, sir. I should have asked that right off the hop. Yeah, I know, Curtis. I know, but you want to know something? Here, this is going to sound ridiculous to some people, but okay, my truck's a 2020. It's a Cascadia, automatic transmission, blah 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 blah. I've tweaked it and spec'd it the way I want it, and I've set it up for fuel mileage. You are going to beat me up a hill. Why? Because when we both get to the top of the hill, I'll probably have more fuel in you, and that's more money to me. The fastest one to the top of the hill does not win the race here. So my truck is set up for that. I run my truck between 63 and 65 miles an hour. And it's set for, and that is pure fuel mileage. That is all I'm going for. And if anybody has the audacity to say, well, you can't make money at 65 miles an hour, you're wrong. Folks, I do 2 round trips to the East Coast a week in 5 days. That's 41 to 4,200 miles at 65 miles an hour. So don't tell me it can't be done, because I do it every week. It's hard trucking. Okay, I'm trucking my ass off, but it can be done. I also have my truck governed. My truck is governed, and that's by my choice, because I come from a generation where we ran balls to the wall. If you hand me a truck with 264 rear ends or 308s like I've got, and I'm ungoverned, I'm going to use it. I know for a fact. I've got the Mike Campbell syndrome. I handed the guy a truck with a faulty sensor, speed sensor, and every time he'd splash some water on it, it would short out, and he'd have an ungoverned truck, and the thing would run. He'd run the thing 85 miles an hour. You give me an 85 mile an hour truck, I'm going to use it. So, why do I keep my truck governed? Self-control. I don't have that self-control. You put 5 cigars in front of me, I'm going to smoke all 5 cigars. You do, I some compulsions and some things I have very little control over. So in order to keep control over them, I lock them down. And governing my truck was one of them. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you honestly. Let's just say I moved out to Alberta and I got a job and I was hauling cattle. I'd ungovern my truck. I'd have to. Okay. The speed limits and the time restrictions and the things that you need to do, I would ungovern the truck. But my truck can run 80 miles an hour with 308 rear ends in it. I can do that. It won't hurt my truck. It won't. What I would lose marginally in fuel mileage, I would make up for in pay, because they're paid better than we are. So you get all the way back to the first question from, what was it, FTS Transport. Livestock or oil field? Find a company that'll take you on in the oil field and get into the oil field. It's hard work. It's grinding work. It is work that'll give you experience. You come out of the oil field after 5 years, you can write your own ticket to where you want to work. Anywhere you want to work in Canada. You'll have people fucking lined up to hire you. Same, and if you don't want to do that, get into livestock, man. Those are the 2 biggest ones in Alberta for a new driver. Trudeau said today they terminated his pregnancy. Wow. What? Stuck a scope up his ass and pulled the shit out of him? That's about the best that asshole is going to get. I can't say, I can't even think a nice thing about that man. You know that? You know, I was partially raised to the point where, Dar's got an itch. Fuck. I was raised in a way that, you try to find something good in everybody. It doesn't matter how hard you got to look, and some of us got to look real hard. I wasn't always a nice guy. A few of you who are personal friends of mine know the life that I came from and where I came from when I was younger. I was not a nice man. I was not a nice guy. But you always try to find at least something nice that you can at least try to say something nice about the guy or somebody or the girl or I can't find a fucking single thing nice about the guy. Not one. And that's hard to do when you can't think of a single fucking thing that's nice about a person. I don't know what else to say. Like if people ask me if people ask me my opinion on Trudeau, the first thing that when you ask me that, and I think a lot of the people around me that I talk to feel the same way, the first emotion that evokes is anger. It's not, let me think about that, or, oh, gee, he's a dick. My first emotion when I think of Justin Trudeau is anger. I get angry. And you know what? I can't go through the rest of my life fucking angry. And I just certainly don't want to go through the next 3 years with this ass hat in fucking office angry. I truly don't. So I have to figure something out. So I let Pierre do the work, and I let Pierre make do the trashing, because I'll just get angry over it. And you guys have seen me get worked up on here over shit like this, and it's not worth it to me to get fucking that angry over this. And so I'll let Pierre do the trashing, and I'll just laugh at Pierre. How's that? Because that's the only one. That's the only way I can do this without, having that fucking vein right here start bulging. Because I can't find anything good about the man. There's nothing good about him, and the direction he's taking this country and what he wants to do. I just can't. Sorry, guys. That was a conversation killer, wasn't it? I think all of a sudden the comments fucking stopped.
No, there's a bunch coming in now, I think.
He's not in my bubble. Not many are in your bubble, Robin. That's how you feel about Biden. You know what? Biden and Trudeau are on the same wavelength, okay? Our liberals and your Democrats are pretty much the same way.
Oh yeah, the limiter for the U.S. I think you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about. I touched briefly on it. Spectre had a really good show last night. Best was on there. I think Nevada piped in. I mean, fucking Red Hawk was in there. Everybody was in there. It was a really, really good show, and it was for T-Bone, and I don't know the details because it wouldn't come out of what it was, but he's had a tragedy in his family. And but anyway, after we got through all of that, Spectre opened it up, and we could all just pipe in and say our piece. And I'm really curious to talk to U.S. drivers, specifically small fleet owners, owner-operators, and anything like that, to find out how these guys are gonna deal with the FSMCA and the OOIDA down there. They want to govern their trucks. They want to govern their trucks down in the U.S. Imagine this. An 85 mile an hour speed limit, or an 80 mile an hour, or a 75. The highways down there are now, I think the average speed limit is 70 miles an hour. And they're going to govern these bastards at 65. 65 miles an hour on a 70 to 75 mile an hour road. And I made the comment on there to ask these guys, because Spectre runs trucks. Best he runs his own truck. He's got a driver in it. Nevada is an owner-operator. Yeah, I know how Kyle feels about that. I know how Nevada feels about that. We were talking about that. But I know how these guys feel about it. But I want to know how the fleet owners are feeling about this. And somebody piped in after I made the comment, and he said, if you can't make money doing 65 miles an hour, then you're doing something wrong. I agree. I wasn't asking the question saying, what are you going to do because you're going to lose money? That wasn't what I was asking. The question I was asking is, how are you guys in the States going to cope with running a 65 mile an hour truck up an 80 mile an hour freeway with the traffic around you? You guys are going to be just like we are in Canada. You guys are going to be a hindrance and a danger on the highways down there. You guys are going to have, what does Cali call them? He calls them elephant races. You guys are going to have more elephant races. You're going to have one guy that's at 65 and one guy that's 64 3/4, and the 65 mile an hour guy is going to go past the 64 guy, and it's going to take him 10 minutes, and you're going to have a lineup of pissed off four-wheelers behind you, and that is when something bad is going to happen. That is when something bad is going to happen. It's not going to happen where somebody's going to run into the back of a slow truck. What's going to happen, and what happens here, is very simply People get impatient waiting to get around these trucks, and then they start doing stupid shit. It's the four-wheelers. And then they'll come in and they'll be pissed off at the truck driver. They pull in front of the truck driver and they brake check them. And then I've got 80,000 pounds rolling up the back of your fucking Toyota Tercel, killing you, your wife, your 2 kids, and your dog. End of your life. Because you didn't like the fact. Well, you know what? If I could run with the rest of the speed limit, with the rest of the traffic, there's other ways to go around fixing this. Nevada had an idea, and I said the same thing, and then I agree with it. Try policing the cars, or try policing the people that are supposed to be doing the posted speed limit. If the speed limit's 75, let the truck do 75. Okay? But if the speed limit's 75, that means the cars are probably posting 80, 85. Slow the cars down. Slow the cars down. Let the trucks run. So far in Canada, I drove before we were limited, before we were governed. I've been trucking before we were governed. I've been trucking since we've been governed. The government tried to throw a whole bunch of shit at us saying, well, the statistics show that 70% of accidents and high collision accidents. Yeah, but you know what? Once you slowed us down, we still had the same amount of accidents, but they weren't 70-mile-an-hour accidents. They were 62 fucking mile-an-hour accidents. Express lanes should be for trucks. I agree. We have in Canada, and I've been in every state in the United States with the exception of Alaska and Hawaii. Driving a truck out to Hawaii would be awful difficult. But you guys have the real estate, and so do we, that if they wanted to do that truck lane idea, like they thought about it up here, actually building another lane just for trucks only. Express lanes for trucks. And if you're caught in a car and you're caught in it, you're fucked. We could probably do it with the highways that we have now. You know, our goddamn government in Ontario, they built all these HOV lanes. Right? High occupancy vehicle. So the meaning that a single occupant car can't drive in that lane. Only a car with, what is it, R2? Mm-hmm. Only 2 or more can drive in that lane. How many people do you ever really see in those lanes? Not as many as they want or what they were hoping that would be. Why don't you get rid of all that and put the trucks in those lanes? Open the trucks up, let them run the speed limit and put them in those fucking lanes. You will never have an empty shelf anywhere in the world. I guarantee you on that. Yeah, well, it's what it is here, James. It's a complete fucking waste here. Okay? They spent trillions of dollars all over building these on the 400 series highways, right? QEW, the 400 series highways, all of it. They spent ridiculous amount of taxpayers' money, and they won't get 1/10 of the value out of it. 1/10. If they were to turn around tomorrow and put all the trucks in those lanes, I guarantee you those lanes would pay for themselves inside of probably 3 years. 3 years, those lanes would probably pay for themselves. You take all the cars out of them, let the fucking cars have the other 3 lanes, or the 4 lanes. You're on the 401. Certain areas of the 401 now are 10 lanes across.
Piper, are you okay, man?
10 lanes across. Give the trucks one of them and get out of the way. Keep the cars out of it. Let us do our job. Let me do what I'm supposed to be doing out here.
Are you getting bitten, Piper?
Donald, hold on. What does it say? What are your thoughts on Trudeau signing the WHO treaty? Bro, I'll be honest with you. I did not know. I did not hear. I did not hear that he signed the treaty. I'll be honest with you. I haven't followed it. I don't even know what the treaty entails.
I'm going inside.
Dar's getting eaten by mosquitoes. She's going inside. She'll still be on, but she's just going in, sit on the couch. You gonna take pipe?
Yeah.
Take pipe with you. So I can't say anything. Don, honestly, if I did, I'd be speaking out of ignorance because I don't know. So unfortunately, bro, I can't help you with that one. That's one you'll have to ask somebody else. Ask Curtis. Oh, who said that? Mark Lewis. Mark, animals today are higher than humans. You know what? That's almost sad, but it's so true. It's almost fucking true. To a degree, it really is. There are more people out there fighting for animal rights than there are fighting for fucking our own rights. How sad is that? And most of those people fighting for animal rights are almost willing to die for it. And there's the people fighting for our rights. Are they willing to die for it? That's a question for you. Are you willing to die for it? Are you fuckers willing to die for your rights in this country? I want to see, like, what do we got? 65, 70. We got 70 people in here. I want to see 70 yeses. Are you willing to die for your fucking rights? Yeah, Curtis, they definitely should expand 11 and 17. Definitely. They should have done it fucking 20 years ago. You know how many people die on 17 and 11 every winter? Again, going back to our immigration conversation. They don't know how to drive in the winter, and they don't know how to drive in Northern Ontario, and you're going to stick them on a fucking 2-lane blacktop with an 80-kilometer or a 90-kilometer-an-hour, and the roads twist and turn. There's no lights. It's dark. It snows. It blows. Yeah. Those lanes all should have been expanded years ago. That would be a good expenditure of taxpayers' money right there. If they came to me and said, "Okay, we're allocating $5 billion to expand 11 and 17 from from North Bay to Sault Ste. Marie on both," and they said we're going to expand them to 4 lanes, I'd say spend away, knock yourselves out, go for it. Thanks, Johnny. Everybody get on that like button, please. Okay, I gotta read that, Joey. That's nobody gave me the right. I do have the right to ask a question, and I asked a question. And most of us are just willing to talk. Well, unfortunately, you're wrong there, because of a lot of us do a lot more than just talking. We just don't brag about what we do. That's not necessary. We do my wife and myself and some other people I know do a lot in our communities and our counties, and you have to do everything by the book. You can't just go knock on the Prime Minister's door and say, "Hey, asshole, listen here, I have something to say." You got to go step by step. So a lot of us do. We just don't brag about it. It's not necessary to brag about what you're doing for your country. I don't need a pat on the back. I want a better way of life for my kids. I want a better way of life. When I die, the country that I leave my children has to be better than the one I'm in, or I didn't do my job. But I don't need a pat on the back, and I don't need anybody to fucking say, "Hey, good job, Bri." And I don't need to walk around telling anybody what I do. But I do have the right to ask a question, and it's a simple question of, are you willing to die for your rights? Are you or aren't you? I'm not insulting anybody, and it wasn't an insulting question. If I insulted you, Joey, I apologize. It wasn't meant to be insulting. That's a good point, Donald. Loose lips sink ships. All right, it's that time. Darwin inside, so if I gotta read some of these. So unfortunately, I gotta put the fucking eye peepers on here. Pat, you taking off? You going to bed eventually today? Curtis, I think you and Bess should do a live stream together. Anytime he wants. Anytime he wants. I don't think anybody on this planet, I don't think anybody on this fucking planet should have to explain what they're doing or their reasons behind it if they're doing something that's just. And I won't. So if any of you were pissed off or insulted by me asking a question, are you willing to die? You know what? Fucking get over it. Sorry, but get over it. Good night, Matthew. You know what? John, I'm not even vaxxed for fucking COVID. You think I'm getting vaxxed for monkeypox? The next needle they stick in my arm, it'll be to draw blood out of me. They're not putting anything else in me. I guarantee you that. Absolutely not. I've had just about enough. For the last 25 years, who wrote that? Richard. Too many politicians and corporations. Yeah, well, politicians get in the positions that they're in. Politicians get where they are through corporate backing. Do you really think that our private sector, with our private donations of fucking $5, $20, $100, do you think that's enough money to fund these goddamn political careers that these asshats in our office have? Not a chance. Big pharma pays them millions. Corporations pay them millions. Fucking everybody that's a billionaire pay them millions. It's always going to be that way. It's always going to be that way. Nothing we can do about that. Unless they change the way, and I don't see this ever happen, unless they change the way that we deal with, how we set up our political elections and parties like that. And I honestly don't see that happening. I really don't. I really don't. Now let's just say for a million years I went into politics and I worked my way up. I'm too old now, but I'd never be able to get in it long enough to become prime minister. But let's just say I'm a younger man and I do. Would I take corporate backing? I'd have to. I'd have to. There's no way I could put out a campaign on private sector money. I mean, like when I say private sector, I mean like donations from you and me or whoever these. I've never donated money to a political party until my wife just did for me the other day there. I didn't even know that I gave to Pierre's campaign. I don't even know how much I gave. Dar, how much did I give? She's in the house, so she'll answer on the screen. Matter of fact, Dar, don't forget it. I don't want to know. Oh, fuck, too late. So I gave Pierre Polivier $15 of my money. You know what? That's not a lot of money, but I've got a big expectation for my $15. I really do. I really do. It's a simple solution. Make peace profitable. Matthew, I agree with Donald 100%. How do you make that happen? How do you make that happen? That on a grand scale, how do you make that happen? Because that's not something you can just start at a small little, at a church or somewhere like in a small little corner of the world. Okay? Because the corruption and the shit in politics is worldwide. It's not just Canada, US. It's worldwide. It's already, the whole place is already corrupt. So how do you do that? How do you make peace profitable on a grand scale? Stop weaponizing the population. Weapons don't fucking kill people. People kill people. Okay? I don't necessarily agree with taking people's weapons away from them. Do I agree with the way that they say certain governments? The U.S. is probably the biggest in the world. They arm other governments, or they arm other parties in other governments, or they arm, do I agree with that? Hell no. But if you're talking take away the guns of the regular everyday person, no. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to be honest with you guys. You know what this is? You know what this is? You know what politics, and it's not just fucking politics, people. It really isn't. It's the world in general. All of us. Myself included. I don't give a fuck who you are. You want to make your life just a little bit better? Take this to the bank, I guarantee you. Take this to the fucking bank. You want to make your life a little bit better? It's called common sense. Use a little common sense. Don't be so goddamn impulsive. Everybody's so quick to jump on everybody else. Everybody's so quick to fucking jump down everybody else's throat. Everybody in this world is so goddamn sensitive. Use a little common sense, people, and it'll make your life a little better. I'm not going to guarantee you the world's going to change tomorrow and be a better place, and we're all going to be dancing on fucking rainbows. But a little common sense goes a long way these days. At least it did back years ago when I was younger. I don't know how many times my father came along and he'd see something I was doing and he'd smack me or my brother in the back of the head so goddamn hard he'd knock you right off the chair, and the first he'd look right down at you and point his face and say, "Boy, use some common sense." You know what? I didn't need the smack in the back of the head. Well, I probably did, but he was right. Obama killed common sense. Have you not met the children of today? You can't blame Obama. You can't blame a politician for killing common sense. Common sense comes from within. Every one of us has the ability to use reason and sensibility, sense and sensibility, and common sense. We all have the ability to do it. Most of us try on a daily basis to the best of our ability, and some of us struggle. Some people just don't have it. Those are just the fucking billies of I don't know what you want to call them, right? Common sense has gone by the wayside. Yeah, you know why common sense has gone by the wayside? It's because of the generation that we've got now coming in behind us, and it's the me generation. What's in it for me? Everybody's so goddamn fucking concerned with what they're gonna get. What's in it for me? Fuck you. What's in it for me? You know what? Look at fucking what happened last night. I don't know if any of you watched what happened on Spectre's channel. What the fuck happened over there? There was no what's in it for me. None. What I saw last night, and I said to Best earlier on this live, what I saw last night was something that I haven't seen in a lot of years. And that was going back to the old days, and old days for me, I'm talking, 20 years, whatever. Going back when drivers would help drivers. People would help each other, right? You'd look at something and go, fuck, okay. And a family was in turmoil and a family was having a problem. And the community, the trucking community, gathered around those people, wrapped their arms around those people, and fucking helped them. That is where we need to get back to. Not this, what's in it for me? You know, well, how much can I get in my pocket? How much money can I cram in my fucking pocket? How much, you know what? Try this. How much fucking happiness can you stuff in your pocket? Give that a fucking try. That ain't gonna work for you either. Money ain't gonna buy you happiness. You can buy a lot of hookers, beer, and blow, but you cannot buy happiness. I guarantee you. Because I bought the hookers, the blow, and the beer, but I've never been able to buy happiness, and I've tried. I've tried for fucking years to buy it. Didn't work. Donald, you're on fire tonight. I got to tell you, you're on fire. I'm loving everything that you're saying tonight. Paying it forward is the best way to go. You know what? That's a little thing. That's just a little thing. It really is. Paying it forward doesn't have to be a big fucking thing. It really doesn't. It can be a little thing. Like, I don't know. I looked over at Darsh. She's not even sitting there. There was a thing going on last year, and I think it happened earlier this year with all the Tim Hortons in the area that I live in. You'd go through the Tim Hortons and you'd come up and you'd place your order for the drive-through. You'd come up and go to pay, and the guy go, "Oh, the guy in front of you paid for it." So then you pay for the guy behind you, and it just kept going. It just kept going. That's simple. It doesn't get no fucking simpler than that. A bunch of strangers just buying coffee for the guy behind them. Get any better than that? Mind you, twice when it happened to me, it's like, oh, okay, I went up and I got my extra large double. The guy in front of me paid for it. He was out $2.35. I said, well, okay, I'll grab the guy behind me. Meanwhile, he's got 4 kids in the car and ordered lunch and everything else. And yeah, sure, I'll pay $35, no problem. Fuck no, happened to me twice. What the fuck, I'm gonna pay it, right? Like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I paid it. Thank you, Curtis. That's the nicest thing somebody said to me today. Karen, I've heard of that at the grocery store as well. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it happening in the grocery stores here as well. That's fantastic. Hey, isn't that fantastic? Look behind you. Next time you're standing in line, you've had a good week at work, or you've had a good couple of weeks on the road. Look behind you. If the lady behind you, she's only holding 4 items, fucking pay for them. Trucker Little Debbie, I tell you what, it's a grand idea. I tell you what, when I go tomorrow, I got to go over to my truck and I have to go into town. I guarantee you, I'm probably going to be cruising through a Tim's at some point tomorrow. We're going to do that. And if I can find another way, and I'm not here, okay, here's one for you. I'm not tooting my own horn. I just said to you 5 minutes ago, I don't like to pat myself on the back, and I don't. But here's something that I saw was done years ago, and I do today. And I've done it, and when my children were, I've been doing it since my kids were little. And this was, I was standing in, where the hell was I? I was standing in a fast food restaurant. The last time I did, I was standing at a fast food restaurant, and in front of me were 3 Canadian soldiers. And they were all enlisted men, none of them were officers. And they went up and they ordered their food. And I went up right after them before they could pay, and I told the cashier, I'll pay for their food. And all 3 of them, their fucking eyes fell out of their head and their jaws dropped. These are underpaid people, by the way, just in case you don't know, our military, US, Canadian, it doesn't matter. These guys are way underpaid for the job that they do. And that is something I've done periodically whenever I've had the opportunity. And I did it one time right in front of my kids, and my kids were little, and they're like, Dad, like, what are you doing? And it's like, you know what, sweetheart? Like, I've got 5 daughters. You know what, sweetheart? It's the right thing to do. These people are here willing to lay down their lives so that you can breathe clean air and live where you live and do what you do. The least you could do is buy them a fucking meal. And my wife and I have done that a couple of times. I've done that in fast food restaurants. My wife and I did that up in North Bay. We were sitting on a patio, and there was a soldier sitting there with his wife. We bought their dinner anonymously, bought their fucking dinner, and buggered off and did that. Those are the little things that you can do. Do little things like that. It's not expensive. If you're so tight that you can't afford, say, a $30 meal to cover somebody's $30 meal, that's fine. I understand. Everything is tight these days. Go for a $2.50 coffee. As simple as a fucking coffee will make somebody's day. You buy my coffee, you buy me a coffee, man, I'm happy as a pig in shit. Nothing in the world makes me happier than say, oh, that's a free coffee. That guy over there bought you, the people in front of you bought you a coffee. Awesome. Awesome. Does it renew my faith in the human race? Hell no. But does it make me happy for one little day, or one little minute? And wow. Does it make me happy for a couple of minutes and you know, give you that warm fuzzy? Yeah, it does. And if it happens to you and it doesn't make you feel good, so it's something fucking wrong with you. It's the little things. You're right. You're right. Who wrote that? Trucker Dev. Sandra. You're right. The little things mean the most. Little things in life are more important than the big things in life. Take care of the little things. Because there's more little things than there are big things. I guarantee goddamn to you that. Take care of the little things in life, and the big things will usually fall into place. Or at least take care of the little things, because if you can take care of the little things and get them right, when the big things drop, you'll have a better chance of surviving them. Johnny, I am working up and down. You don't want to know to what lengths I've gone to try to make this happen. It's not as easy as you think. It's really not as easy as you think. And the hoops I'm having to jump through to get this to happen it's I didn't even think. I've been in the trucking industry for all these years, and I didn't even think it was that hard to do something like I Know What You Want to Do. Dude, it is just becoming almost impossible. I've got one other option that I'm exploring, and I'm actually waiting to hear back from somebody. So just so you know, I'm not that quick on emails, and I know, but just so you know, I am still working on this, and I will find a way. You know what? You don't ever put a challenge or something. You don't ever tell me I can't do something, because I'll fucking do it just to defy you. I'll shoot myself in the foot and screw myself just to defy you. And this is one of those things. You know what, Johnny? If I can get over the border, I'll get it from you and then figure out a way to get it back. Jesus. No, same cat. I thought we had another one. Jesus. But just so you know, Johnny, okay, I'm still working on this. I'm still working on this. Cynthia, I can tell you right now, at least 40% are hurting. Everything is no name, and good nutritional food is too expensive to buy. Kids are suffering. I can't say one way or the other if your percentage is right or wrong. It well could be. I don't know. But I agree with you. I can drive into Kingston or Napanee And I can tell you right now, the amount of people that the homeless people have multiplied. The amount of homeless people that you see on the streets walking around in shelters and this and that, or on just on the street, never mind the shelters. No, that's not happening, Don. Not again for 25 years. Has multiplied. It's probably doubled. It has probably doubled in the last little while. Yeah, of course, Curtis. They've tripled there in Brampton. Well, I'm sure in some places they've tripled, some places they've doubled, some places they've probably quadrupled. And it's sad. It is absolutely fucking sad. I'm not an economist. I can't sit here and tell you people or discuss with you people the state of our economy and what is going to happen or what isn't going to happen. You know what? I've got a nice little fire over here. I don't have a crystal ball. If I had a crystal ball, I'd be happy to sit here and rub that ball all night long, and I'd be happy to give you every answer that you ask. That's something that I just don't have. And like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't have those answers. That's not in my wheelhouse. You want to know how to get from fucking Toronto to California to Houston, back up to Calgary, out to Newfoundland, over to New York City, do 5 drops through New York City, pick up in Vermont and come back? I'm your guy. You want to know about the economy and how we can do this and that and everything? Do you see my hands, Wizard, right now? Do you see my hands on the screen? What do you think? Patrick, you're tardy. You're tardy. You're not late, you're just tardy. Retard. No, you're just tardy, not retardy. You're tardy. You want to know something? I'm going to share something with you, and there's something that happened to me this week. It actually gave me a little bit of. It made me happy. Okay, these are the simple things that make me happy. Okay, I was sitting in Woodstock, New Brunswick. I'd shut down for the night. I went inside, would throw some water on my face, stretch my legs. I come walking back across the parking lot, and this young guy, and he came out of a big freight truck. He had a T680. It was a company truck, and he was a young kid. I wish I could remember his name. I asked him his name, but I'm terrible with names. And if he's watching here, bro, pipe in. I'm really sorry I've forgotten your name. But he came over and asked me if my name was Brian. And I said, yeah. And he says, I watch you on your channels and da-da-da-da-da. And we just got to talking. I'm 52. He couldn't have been maybe 22. Huge age gap in between us. We talked a little bit about the channels and YouTube and this and that. And then the conversation just went to trucking. There's a 52-year-old guy and a 22-year-old guy that have nothing in common outside of this business, that for 10 minutes stood there in the middle of a fucking parking lot getting eaten by mosquitoes talking about trucking. Talking about trucking life. Talking about shit like that. I got back to my truck and I went, you know what? That was the best 10 minutes. Never mind all the money I made today. Right? I drove 741 miles that day. 741 fucking miles. I did okay. I was happier about the 10 minutes that I spent with that kid. Or turn that around. I was happy that that kid was willing to spend 10 minutes with me. Who the fuck am I? I'm some guy that comes on this channel. You know, I make some videos. I try to help some people out. I do some other work on the side with some other young drivers and work out other stuff and help them get set up in business and shit like that. But for you to come out and say, and if you're watching here, for you to come out and just be willing to take 10 minutes out of your day and say, hey, I like what you're doing. Thanks, keep doing it. And then start talking about trucking. That made my entire day. More than the money that I made, more than the dinner I was about to go eat, more than anything that happened to me that day. That is what I liked. Curtis, you should explain to James our logbook rules. He thinks he would love the I think he would love the 13-hour rule. Okay, yeah, okay. I drove 741 miles at 65 miles an hour. Now, if you do the math on that, if you're a U.S. driver, you can't do that. But in Canada, we can. Because first of all, we're allowed to drive for 13 hours. We don't have to drive for 11. We're allowed to be on duty for 14, but if you take off 2 hours in the middle of your day, and they have to be in no less than half-hour increments. So if you take off a half hour, a half hour, a half hour, a half hour, it adds up to 2 hours. You can extend your day to 16 hours. So we don't have to take a 30-minute break. We can extend our day to 16 hours, and we only have to take 8 hours off. There's no 10-hour off. We only have to take 8 hours off in the bunk. That is how I'm able to drive 740 miles in a day. I'm not out here doing it on U.S. rules. You can drive 700 miles. I have driven over 700 miles in the U.S., but it wasn't in a 65-mile-an-hour truck. See you, Sandra. You taking Robin with you? Who said that? Who said that? Karen. No, not Karen. Mr. Bees, I enjoy hanging with you guys for an hour or so. You know what, man? This is awesome. Oh, somebody just took out a coyote. We got real bad coyotes off the back. Like off the back of my property is nothing but farmland. Like you can walk off the back of my property, and I think probably 20 yards off the back of this property here, it's a farm field, and then it just goes. I think it's 10 miles, and then there's a lake, and then there's another lake, and blah, 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 blah. But for some reason, this year, the coyotes have been coming in a lot closer to our place, the place up the road here, and the one over here. They've been getting closer, and I know the farmers are out there right now. That bang you just heard, I guarantee you, some farmer just took out a coyote. Yeah, I know the coyotes are looking for food, but I've got 2 dogs here. I've got a couple of cats here. I'm sitting out here. If you've got one coyote, it's nothing to worry about. Well, my other dog, we had to put her down, but she was a black lab. I had a black lab and a German Shepherd here. Very rarely will a single coyote jump a fence. But when you get 5, 6, 7 of them, they are a nuisance. They're killing everything in sight back there. Everything. You name it, they're killing it. They are a nuisance. Damn. Best, if you're still in here, you got to smoke one of these. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing, or how the fuck you guys in the States are not doing business with Cuba yet. Like, I know that embargo from way back when, and you guys have boycotted everything to do, or the governments have doing business with Cuba, but man, at least get the Cuban food and the cigars. You know, make an exception. Import their cigars and their food. Well, you can go to Miami and get Cuban food, but you chased an eagle out. He was going after one of the ducks. I've not seen many eagles. We've got hawks and falcons around here, and they clean up just about everything. They clean up, but they're good and they're bad. They'll take down a good sized hawk around here. Will take out a small cat. But on the other hand, they're really good for our mouse population. There's Donald. There's something, sir. I've seen you've asked the question twice now. Here, sorry. I just why a match instead of a lighter? It's not a regular match. You don't use the regular matches. You know, those flimsy cardboard matches. When you light a cigar with a traditional old school wood match, there's just something about the wood burning as you're lighting the cigar gives you an aroma and a flavor that is fantastic. It's off the hook. Now, the flavor and the aroma on this cigar is fantastic and off the hook anyway, but that's why back in the day that you always saw them, like in the old movies, you see the guys in the saloons, they grab that match and they off the back of their boot and they're lighting. That's why they're lighting it off off a wood match cigar or a wood match. You see them, Flatbatter Rick, you see them around early in the morning. We don't get them in the morning around here. Around here, most of the time, it's about now. And if I was, actually, what time is it now? We're going on 10 to 10 or quarter to 10. I bet you with probably any time now, if the camera is sensitive enough, you'll and I shut the fuck up for like 3 minutes, you'll hear them back there, and they start hackling and howling and they're making a whole bunch of noise. Karen, that's a damn good question. That's a damn good question. It's funny because Dara and I were coming home tonight, and the gas station in town closest to where we live, their gas was cheap. I can't remember what it was, but Dara actually, she grabs her phone and goes, "Holy shit, did the province of Ontario follow Alberta and cut their gas tax?" And she started Googling it. I don't know exactly what she found. Yeah, Grand Wizard, the province of Alberta, I think, now I don't know, I'm not going to give you an exact number, but I think it was 50%. They cut their gas tax or their fuel tax on their fuel by 50% to give the people a break because, like you know, we're paying absolutely ridiculous prices for fuel. Alberta is the first one that's done it. That, as far as I know, they're the only one that have done it. They've done it to give the people a break. I don't see old Dougie here doing that for Ontario. Karen, okay, Newfoundland did it as well. Okay, that's great. $2.29 a liter. Is that for gas or diesel? Because I tell you right now, I paid $2.41 in Moncton for diesel. Curtis, I almost did that. I wasn't about to sell my truck, but I just about, I had something on the go and I was going to go out to the oil fields and I was going to take my truck. Unfortunately, my truck is not spec'd for it. And for what it would cost me to rearrange, change the rear end, change the transmission, it wasn't worth it to do. But then again, I turned around, I'm thinking, okay, let's put a driver in this one here and let it go, and I'll buy another truck and I'll go out there. And it might be something in the future that I would look at, but it's not a bad idea. I understand why guys are doing it. It's worth it. It is worth it. I got a friend of mine out there right now doing really well. Doing really well. Mr. Beast, $2.49 a liter. That's like $9.50. That's about $8. About 8 and a bit a gallon. After you do After you do the conversion, you do the liters to gallons, the U.S. to Canadian, back and blah, 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 comes out to about $8, give or take. I don't have a calculator here. I'm just pulling it but by going quickly looking at that, you're about $8 a gallon. It won't be long that it'll be cheaper to go buy a bottle of 151 rum and put that in your car. You'll be able to buy a bottle of rum and run that. Our Silverados, we can switch from gas to propane if we want to. There's a few people that do that. I've got a friend, not a friend of mine, but it's a friend of a friend. He's got an old Cutlass, and he did the conversion. He's got the conversion kit, and he can switch back and forth as well. It's a good, and it's really good because he lives in northern Alberta, and it's really good because when you got a propane, when you're running your car on propane, you can idle it all night long and you're doing no damage to anything. It's not like if you idle your car for 12, 14, 15 hours, you know, you're wearing out your spark plugs, you're doing this and that and everything. Propane is a whole different animal, and you can actually, instead of having to put a block heater in the car, they can actually, you know, for $7, they can run their car all night. You don't idle your car when it's gas. You know, I'm almost tempted to turn. Dar's got a Honda Civic. I'm almost tempted to turn that thing off every time I come to a red light. You know, it's got a push button start. So start, go, stop, go, start, go. A lot of Crown Vics back in the day ran on propane. Yeah, they did. Crown Vics. I think the mid 80s to late 80s Cutlass Supremes. A lot of them had the option. You have a 2019 Ecotech with a 355 small block, and you've got the conversion in it. You can run both. All right. All right. I need my calculator. Mr. Bees has dropped a fucking challenge. He's thrown down the gauntlet. I think he's wrong. $9.33 a gallon. I think it's $8. I think it's closer to 8. My phone's in the house. But I think you're wrong. It's 3.79 liters per gallon as well, just so you know. Who said that? Oh, Hack Job said that as well. Hack Job Entertainment. Correct, sir. 3.79 liters per gallon. Mr. Bees, this is what we do for a living. Well, then you must have your formulas wrong. Diesel is 2.0, so $2 in Manitoba. Where the hell are you guys, Sandra? It's almost worth it to drive to Manitoba to fill up just to drive back to Ontario. $1.69 in Calgary. Now you're making us cry. Now you're just bragging. Okay, it's 78 cents. 78 cents Canadian is a US dollar. Minnedosa. What's that? Just north of Winnipeg, isn't it? I filled up at the Irving in Woodstock. I use that Irving a lot because there's a Timmy's. I noticed that I always pick off all the Irvings that all have the Tim Hortons in them. You know what? I hate to say this, but I'm a Tim Hortons snob. I am. When I run the States, I can't drink Dunkin', and I definitely can't drink Starbucks. Just north of Brandon, okay. I am. I'm a Tim's fucking snob. I really am. I like Tim Hortons coffee. I drink it in my house. The kids drink, they bring home bags of Cuban coffee when they go, and they order coffee from, and they like my kids and Darlene, they love the fucking coffee strong. it's almost, to me, it's like tar. I like Tim's. Give me a good Tim Hortons coffee, and I'm a happy man. Yeah, there's Timmy's in the U.S., but it's not everywhere. Come on, Curtis, you know that. They got most of the Tims are usually in the. Now, that's not to say that there's not a couple in the U.S. southern states, but most of them are in the northern states, closer to the border. McDonald's coffee is the 2000s Tim's coffee. Oh, man. Hack job, I hate to tell you this, but, and I know this for a fact because I've been there. Tim Hortons coffee and McDonald's coffee are both blended and done in the same plant in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada here, and they're both done by Mother Parkers. If that bursts your bubble and upsets you, sorry that you didn't, if you didn't know that. But Tim Hortons and McDonald's, Timmy's is made on this side of the plant, McDonald's is made on this side of the plant, and it's Mother Parkers that makes it. So Mother Parkers is putting out their coffee, Timmy's coffee, and McDonald's coffee. I used to deliver in and out of there. You go into the driver's lounge and there's Timmy's, McDonald's, and McDonald's. You can take your choice of whatever you want to make. McDonald's Canada recently bought the old recipe. I'm not surprised. Tim's is global. I don't go global, man. I don't know if it's global or not. Oh, Mr. B's has got a boner now. Look at this. He's really got a heart on here. Okay, so $2.49 a liter. There's 3.79 liters to a gallon. So 249 times 3.79 is 9.43 a gallon. Now that's Canadian. Convert $9.43 back to US. Comes out to just under $8. Liter or liter? It's liter. You can have a liter if you want, but it's a liter. Sorry, I had to sit forward on the camera there. My back was starting to hurt, but it just popped. So I didn't want to crowd y'all, you know, didn't want to get in your face or nothing, but sorry. Our Timmy's only put cream cheese on half the bagel. You know what? When I go in, I have a jalapeno bagel toasted with herb and garlic cream cheese, and I tell them, put it on both sides, please. They'll do it for you. But how many times do you go in and you get your bagel, and then you get back to your truck, and you get in there and you get all happy, you get your coffee, and you open your bagel, and they didn't cut it in half? That pisses me off. Curtis, $7.43. Okay, so I was closer to $8. Okay, Mr. B's, it's $9.43 Canadian a gallon. But Canadians don't buy gallons, we buy liters. The only time we buy gallons is when we're in the States, so we have to convert our Canadian dollars on our statements as owner operators. It gets converted from Canadian to US. I've got Crown Royal here and Skull Vodka. Just have not been in the mood to drink. 4.4 liters to a gallon. Wow, I want to buy whiskey from you. 3.79 liters to a gallon. But Rickardy, if you're setting up a distillery, I'll buy whiskey from you at 4.4 liters to a gallon. No problem, all day long. Social. Hey, man, how did you slip in here? Have you been here the whole time? Urea controls all diesel. Sorry, isn't urea what they use and what they make DEF out of? I might be wrong on that. I might be. I don't know. You were outside. You just came in. Okay. Canadian conversion is 4.4 liters to a gallon. Damn mosquitoes. You know what? I'm sitting out here right now, social, and I've not, Dar had to go in. She's getting chewed on, but I doused myself. And I'm actually going to endorse this shit. Believe it or not, I don't usually put a lot of faith in bug spray, but this shit really works. I've been sitting here for, what have we been in here now? An hour 15? 115 minutes, whatever this is, an hour 15 to 2 hours, almost 2 hours. And I have not had a single bite. I have not. Patrick, you're right. You're right. Rickardy 69, 4.4 liters to a gallon. That's an imperial gallon. Switch to, nobody uses imperial gallons. It's US gallons. 3.79 liters to a US gallon. Sorry, man. I should have picked that off. I should have picked it off. My apologies, sir. Use DEF, it works better. Yeah, but then you smell like fucking ammonia. Brian, I want to visit the distillery off the highway from Moncton and see if they have chicken bone liquor. They add chicken bone candy to liquor. Karen, do I want to know what that is? I don't drink. As you guys know, I'm a recovered drug addict and alcoholic, but when I was drinking, I don't even think, even on my worst Monday morning, I'd try fucking chicken bone liquor. I've done a lot of things for a first, but I think I'd leave that one alone. Horde DEF. I think you guys are, let's just say in the world, the battery operated vehicle doesn't happen and we stick with diesel. I think you're going to see that the DEF is going to be gone. I think they're going to get rid of it. The only reason they don't get rid of it now is because they've pushed it and crammed it down our throats and they're so invested in it right now, but they can't get any more invested in it. I think what they're discovering now with the science on DEF, on deep particulate filter, whatever, DEF. When diesel goes in the air, it goes through your engine, the combustion, the exhaust, it comes out, it goes in the air, and after enough time, it settles to the ground. Soot. That's what comes out of your car, basically. It's airborne soot, but it does eventually settle to the ground. Yes, it takes an effect on the atmosphere. DEF fuel gets mixed with the diesel, goes into the cylinder, we have combustion, we got compression, we got exhaust, it goes out the stack, the soot falls to the ground, and they're now finding that the DEF does not. It stays in the air. We're breathing it. Yes, we're breathing soot, and we're breathing diesel fumes and gas fumes, but it eventually settles and goes away. DEF fluid does not. DEF fluid stays in the air. All these tree-hugging motherfucking cocksucking twinkle-toed fuckers in California that caused us to use, that caused all of the DEF and all the emissions and all the crap on these trucks, which is the reason, the state of California is the reason we have it. Right, okay, my apologies, Curtis. But either way, it's still going out the stack. So at the end of the day, I think I'd rather suck diesel fumes than DEF fumes. DEF goes in the air and it coats your lungs. It goes into your body and it's not good for you. Long term, it's not good for you. Neither's diesel fumes and neither are gas fumes. But of the three, they've come out and said that DEF is definitely the worst because it stays in the air. It doesn't ever go away. So I think eventually, and they already know this. So now there's no way they can go and hit the brakes and go, oh my God, we have to stop using DEF and we got to figure out another way. They can't, they're too heavily invested, but eventually they will. So I think if by chance batteries don't happen, and they are, of course, but if they didn't, you'd find out the DEF, they'll be taking the DEF out of here too. Love the smell of old school diesels. Nothing better in the world than standing beside an old mechanical, a 3406 Cat or something like that. One of those old, and when they start a cold start. Anybody remember a cold start? And that truck would just be like clack, 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 and it would start warming up. I love the smell. I love the smell coming off that truck. I probably explains the brain damage, because man, I was that kid that would stand beside that truck and suck those fumes until the driver drove away. Loved it. To this day, I still love the smell of the old cars, not the new cars. Remember when we used to run on leaded gas? Right? The guy that lived next door to us when we were a kid, he had one of those old, it was a boat. It was a Chrysler New Yorker. It was painted lime green with a wood panel down the side. And he'd go out and start that car, and I'd stand in the wintertime, I'd stand at the end of his driveway. You couldn't even see me. I'd be in a cloud of smoke, exhaust coming off the back of that car. And I'd be back there just getting higher and dumber than by the minute. It was great. Loved it. Loved it. Patrick, I agree. Old industrial machinery. Love it. It's like crack. It really is. Really is. Mark, there's a guy in Halton Hills who runs his Ford pickup, and it runs on ammonia. No pollution, and he tried to get the government to go for it, and they want nothing to do with it. Push harder. Start getting some people at a municipal level to look at it. You know, there's got to be some science behind it. Find the science. I would have no trouble with that if he's got a good something like that going. What the hell? If you can run a car on ammonia and there's no pollution and it works, go for it. Now, personally, I'd probably be sick filling up my car with ammonia because the smell of it makes me gag. Clifton, yeah. So did we. Me and my brother, we'd be fighting because we'd be rolling the window down, right? Because on my dad's car, the fuel tank, or the, oh fuck, you know, I'm brain dead here. Probably all the gas fumes, right? But it was on the passenger side. So we'd pull into the gas station, my brother and I'd be pushing our faces out the window, rolling the window down, pushing our faces out the window, sucking up the fumes. It was great. It was great. And then I wonder why my generation, why we're half crazy, half nuts, and half stupid. That's three halves. See? It works. There's three halves. Half crazy, half stupid, half nuts. There's three halves. That's from sucking gas fumes. There you go, kids. Anybody under the age of 25, don't suck up the gas fumes or you'll end up like me. Yeah, the guy with the pickup runs it. Check it out on YouTube. He runs it on ammonia. I will check that out. I will definitely check that out. Grand Wizard's going swimming. Actually, we had our pool open today, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks it's not warm enough. I don't have a heated pool. It's not worth it to us because it's just so. But yeah, we should be swimming the next week or so. Oh yeah, I will. Mark, I'll definitely check that out. Running a car on ammonia. Hey, if it works, it works. More power to him. I got no problem with that. You guys are -2? Sandra, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt on my back porch at night, and I'm not cold. Yeah, I got a fire. Yeah, anytime, Robin. You come on over here. There's nobody to see you, dude. Right? I got a tree line. Believe it or not, I have a tree line around my entire property. You can walk out the back door of my house naked, walk around the backyard naked, anything you want naked. Nobody can see a damn thing. Mr. Bees, I've seen that. I've seen that. Where the hell did I see? I didn't see that on YouTube. I saw that somewhere else. He's buying up the waste oil from the restaurants, from all of their fryers, and he's using it. And they do still have to do something to it. They can't just put it in the tank. But yeah, I've heard that one. Except the coyotes. Well, yeah, if the coyotes are crazy enough to come in here while I'm running around naked, they're taking their lives in their hands. Well, if you could melt all the plastics, we could make fuel. Greg, that's a very good point. But what is a plastic? What does plastic start its life as? Oil. Am I correct? If I'm wrong, tell me, but I don't think I am. Plastic starts its life as oil. Right. If you can convert it back to its original form, or as close to, you'll never get all the chemicals out of it. But if you can convert plastics back to their original form of some type of oil, that's right. You can probably figure out a way to run a vehicle on it. What I don't get is diesel is a byproduct of gasoline. Why is it more expensive when you have to make diesel anyway to make gasoline? There's the $1 million question of the night, folks. That's an easy one. You have to make diesel to make gas. Diesel is a byproduct of making gas. It's dirty gas, basically. You know, if you break it down into real simplest terms. You have to make diesel to make gas, but yet they make diesel, they take the diesel, then they sell it for more than gas. You know why? Because we need it. We absolutely need it, and we have to have it, and they know it, and it doesn't matter how much they charge for it, we have to pay it, or we don't run our trucks and our vehicles. Diesel, Wizard, absolutely right. Diesel pricing makes no sense. I asked you a question, then I answered it for you. Sorry. I didn't mean to be a smartass or to show off. I wasn't showing off. It's just that it's a question that I've asked. I've asked everybody I know. Anybody that knows, that has a hand in the fuel industry, I've always asked them, and nobody can give me a straight answer. It's not that they can't give me a straight answer. Most of them don't fucking know. There's probably 5 people. It's like the KFC recipe for their chicken. There's 5 people in the world that know the KFC recipe. Well, there's probably 5 people in the world that know why diesel is more than gas. We need to bring back glass bottles. I agree with that. Absolutely. Here's one for you, Curtis. I don't know how old you are. Glass bottles. Did you ever go to the pop shop when you were a kid? Go to the pop shop, and we'd have grape, cherry, orange, and they were in the coolest pop bottles. Patrick, that is not true. Jet fuel is not cheap. I actually can speak something on that. Not a friend of mine, but a client of Darlene's. One of her clients, he owns a plane, and he flies. You know, he's obviously he's better off than some of us, and he owns his own airplane, and he can fly, and he can't fly no more. Or he's got to seriously cut down on his flying because of the price of jet fuel or aviation fuel. All across the board, there's different levels of different types of aviation fuel, but it's affecting everybody. How the airlines are paying right now to keep their planes in the air with the price of fuel, jet fuel? It's beyond me. Beyond me. I think they're doing it on the corporate level where they're taking the loss and then writing the loss off. It's the only way they're keeping the boat. But that's what I'd be doing if I owned an airline. To line their pockets. Yeah, Mark, agree. Well, you don't get that much diesel per barrel. We get 3 times much the gas. Okay, I can see that. I can understand that. But for the amount of gas that we produce compared to the amount of diesel that we need more gas. We're making more gas than we need diesel. Does that make sense? There's still more vehicles running on gasoline than there are on diesel. So for the amount of gas we're making, the diesel, the byproduct being diesel, should be there in plentiful amounts. Whether it's a 3-to-1 ratio or not, that 1% ratio, the 3% gas to 1% ratio of diesel, that 1% should be enough to supply us. Why is it so much more than gas? Mr. Bees, I gotta say, brother, you and Donald are both on fire tonight. I am getting schooled here. What an education I am getting here tonight. And I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm not being an smart ass about it. I'm telling you honestly. I appreciate it. I didn't know that you get 3. I didn't know it was a 3-to-1 ratio. And the answer I just gave you is just what came out of the top of my head. Believe me, it didn't come out of any book, and it's nothing. Sorry, I'm eating a chocolate bar. Mosquito flavor. Yeah, Curtis, but the reason we do that, and again, this one I kind of know something about. We sell our oil for more than we pay for the Saudis for it. Would you believe that? Plain and simple, it's all about the dollar. We sell it to Texas or to the U.S. The U.S. is, I think, our second largest, or I think it's our largest now importer of purchase of our oil. But we sell it to the U.S. and we sell it to Brazil and we sell it to a lot of South American countries, and we sell our oil for more than we pay the Saudis for it. So on a dollars and cents level, it kind of makes sense to do on say for a business level, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. You're selling it for more than you're paying somebody else for it, sure. But we produce it in such vast amounts that if they took 1/4 of that, 1/4 of the oil that comes out of the oil and gas that comes out of our country, if we turned that 1/4 around, refined it and used it in-house per se, like for Canada only, bro, you'd be paying 75 cents a liter for gas. We'd be backbound paying fucking 50 cents a liter for diesel. That's why. We sell it for more than we make on it, or than we buy it for. It shows that emissions, yeah, Wizard, you're right. It shows that emissions is not government policy. It's what Putin has done. Fuel as cheap as Russia, in Russia. Anybody see that video of that young guy in Russia? He drove around to 3 different petrol stations. That's what they call them over there. We call them gas stations. But he drove around to 3 different petrol stations showing the price. And then he did the conversion from liters to gallons, and then from rubles to US dollars. Gas and diesel in Russia is cheap, right? And that's what they did. They turned they used their own oil. They produced huge amounts of oil and gas, and they use it. Yeah, they sell it, but they use some of it. At the start of the pandemic, Gas was 71 cents for months in Quebec. Those days are long gone, bro. Oil is every place. It's getting refined. How many refineries does Canada have? Bro, I don't know how many we have. I know we've got them. I've driven from one end of this country to the other, sea to shining sea, and I know I've seen refineries. I know I've seen refineries. I think there's a refinery. Where the hell is it? What's the name of that place in Quebec? Lévis? I think I said that. I don't want to piss off any French, but it's not. It's spelt like Levi, Levi, but I think it's pronounced Lévis. They got a pretty big refinery up there. Canada has its own refineries. We do. We got 15. Okay, we got 15 refineries. Now, as an American, you might go, wow, that's not very many. But on the other hand, Mr. B's, we only have 37 million people in this country. You have 345 million people. Your population is almost 10 times what ours is. We don't need that much. We don't need that much, to tell you the truth, right? You have 130. Yeah. That's a lot. You must be Google. You must have Google working overtime at your place tonight, eh? You have 130 refineries. Okay. Yeah, you got 10 times the people. That's what I mean. I know the ratios aren't going to add out here. I know where you're going with this. Ontario has 3 nuclear plants, a few hydro plants, and we export energy. We export a lot of energy. Guess who the biggest purchaser of our energy is, Curtis? Same place our oil's going. The U.S. Yeah, I figured, man. I think if we all tried to get on Google right now, you'd be hogging it. Irving Oil in New Brunswick. Irving Oil, the Irving family in New Brunswick pretty much owns New Brunswick. John, if you're from New Brunswick, you know that. They own everything out there, that family. And why are prices skyrocketing? We have massive resources. Wizard, that's the question. That's why guys like you and me and all of us in here tonight, we're sitting here talking. Who knows? I'd love to know the answer to that. I would love to know the answer to that. So why was diesel, for as long as I can remember, cheaper till a couple of years ago? What changed? Mark, I said that earlier, right? And I made reference to it that if we were refining our own oil and gas in this country, gas would be 75 cents and diesel would be 50. When I was a kid, diesel was half the price of gas. So if gas was, let's just, for round numbers, if gas was 50 cents, diesel was 25 cents. If it went up to 60 cents, diesel was 30 cents. It was always like a half. It was always half of what gas was. Now it's more than gas. It really is. China air quality sucks. Yeah, well, I don't know. I've never been to China. Sorry, you guys are really typing these in fast. I just got to make sure I'm not missing anything. There's a lot of questions. Erica, how did both of our countries end up with these idiots in charge? There's a simple answer to that. It really is, and that's because we put them there. This is one of those, live with your mistake, but don't make the same mistake twice. Come on. 80s diesel Jetta used to make 900 kilometers per full tank. Yeah, then they tried it again in the mid 2000s, and they got caught. Remember, they were doing something. They were doing something with their programming of their car on the computer, and Volkswagen got fined huge. It wasn't. If you plug the car in, it had to do with the emissions. But if you plugged the car in, it would show that it met the emission standard, but it wasn't. If you want a job in a China factory, lots of people in Canada better off at a job like a factory. I don't want a job in a Chinese factory. I'll be honest with you, I don't want a job in a Canadian factory. I'm quite content with the job that I have working for myself, doing the job that I do, pounding the highway. While the U.S. was fighting the Middle East, China has been building trade routes. Curtis, I can't disagree with you. I agree with you. I think that China, in the background, was doing a lot, especially at the beginning of the first Gulf War. I don't know how old you are, but at the beginning of the very first Gulf War, while all of that was going on, China was building and trading, and they were setting up, like you said, trade routes. They were doing a lot of stuff in the background off everybody's radar, building and building up so that when they got to a point, which they are at now, they can pretty much pick and choose and do whatever the fuck they want. Let's face it. The Chinese, unfortunately, are in a position that if at any given time, if the Chinese called in all of the debt that the U.S. owned to them, the U.S. would be bankrupt. Like that. Now they can't, and they won't. But if they ever did, they could bankrupt entire countries, Canada, U.S., anything like that. They don't, because they rely on us, because we've gone, well, not so much Canada, but the United States has gone from an industrial country, a country that makes and produces, more to a country that consumes. China is now the industrial country of the world, right? They produce and make everything and anything, and we all buy it. Unfortunately, that's what has happened right now. Biden tug life routine is failing. I think Biden's failing himself. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't be surprised if Biden's dead before the end of this year. That man's going to drop dead. He's starting to look more and more like a cadaver every day. And God forbid if Kamala Harris takes over, you guys are really fucked then. You think you're in bad shape now. If she gets her hands on it, you guys are dead meat. Word on the street is they own the Grand Canyon, a lot of our farmland. Clifton, I don't know how it is in the States, but I know they own pretty much the province of British Columbia. In Canada, like that whole western province is pretty much all Chinese money. It's Canadian currency, but it's Chinese money. It wouldn't surprise me if the news, if the New York Times tomorrow reported China bought Grand Canyon. They own a lot. They don't own the mines, Patrick. They own the majority share in the mine. So do they own the mine? No. Do they own the majority share of the mine? Yes. That's what they were doing in the background when I was talking earlier. They were going around and investing in other countries' resources. They couldn't buy the entire resource, but they could buy a very good portion of it and get their foot in the door. And that is exactly what they've done. And they've done it with our forestry, our oil, our gas, our steel, our everything. Just about everything that we do in Canada to produce, the Chinese have a hand in it somewhere. That's shameful. And Patrick's right. Trudeau's just opened up the door. Trudeau's allowed it. I'm trying to light a cigar and read the comments at the same time. You guys are killing me. Happening in Australia and New Zealand. It's happening all over the world, bro. It really is. It really is. They bring in their own workers to operate the mines too. You know what? I can't speak on that. I don't know. I've not said anything or heard anything about that. Who said that? Green Earth Rebirth. The Jews own more than the Chinese. Okay, that's okay. And Clifton, okay, Clifton said it for me. You're right. The Jews have a lot of the money. Vanguard, all of the if you look at all of the top companies in the world, who the biggest investors are in those companies, you're going to come up with companies like Vanguard and BlackRock. Sorry, Blackwater's the other one, but BlackRock. Those companies own a lot. I mean, they own the majority of all the big companies. And is that Jewish and Jewish descent money? Yes. Do they produce anything? No. They don't produce anything. The Chinese produce everything. The monitor that you're looking at me on was probably made in China. The only thing probably sitting around me right now not made in China is this cigar. It was made in Cuba. Funny, they're both communist countries. The Chinese played the long game, and it paid off. Okay? Back in the 90s, the Chinese started playing the long game, building up to the point where they're at right now. And it worked. It paid off for them. It's paying off for them now. And I hate to tell you this, guys, it's going to be paying off for a long time. It really is. Clifton, you're talking about the Chinese? They produce everything? Medicine, everything they produce, pretty much everything? Dude, I agree. I agree. I don't think that there's an industry in Canada. I can't speak for the US, but I don't think that there's an industry in Canada that at some point or another that the Chinese don't have a hand in, or at least Chinese money or something, or their investments, or it's in here. Four corporations own everything on the planet. John, I think you're right. I think I mentioned, I think, two of them. I think Vanguard is one. I know for sure Vanguard is one of them. BlackRock, I think is another one of them. What are the other? I watched a really good documentary on this. In the early 2000s, China had won. Yeah. Yeah. You know when China won? You know when China won? When Nike sent all their fucking factories over to China and they were making Nike in China. That's when China won. You know what I've noticed tonight? I'm going to just throw this out there. More tonight than any other live that we've done, you guys got your Googleatrons going and you're keeping me honest. You guys are, you guys are like fact checking me. No more Jasons here, eh? Who said that? Mighty Motive 1982. Can't beat that North American quality control, though. You know what? If we could produce a car from beginning to end, I mean, manufacture all the parts, everything, put it together, I think that Canada would make as good a car as they do in Europe, China, whatever, anything like that. All of our parts and everything would be. The problem is nobody in Canada is going to work for $1.95 a day. Nobody. Nobody's going to work for $1.95 a day. But yet they can produce. Metallica killed Napster. Yeah, they did. But anyway, we can produce all of the parts and all of the electronic components and all of everything to build a fucking car. We could build as just as good a car as anybody else. But that car would cost you $245,000. The Japanese can and North American, Ford, Toyota, whatever, doesn't matter who it is. All the computer components, all the shit is all made in China. It's all farmed out and it's all coming out of China. Why? Again, nobody in Canada, Donald, nobody in the US, nobody in North Carolina is working for $1.95 a day. It's not going to happen. Mighty Motive, all military equipment are North American made and it's cheap, horrible crap. All military equipment in North America made. Well, I don't know for 100% if all of it is made in North America. I know that there's certain APCs that the US buys that are all Canadian made. They're made not far from where I'm living here. I know because I've trucked them out of here and taken them down there, taking them down to Fort Drum in New York City, or in New York State. So I know that they were made in Canada. Again, Canada's part of North America. I don't know the quality of them. They were on my trailer. I trucked them down there. I didn't drive them around out in the desert and test them out, although I would have if they let me. We can still not get a lot of chips for our cars in the USA. Mr. B's, we're having the same problem here with our cars and trucks. Chips and sensors, right? Sensors. I think the cars, it's the computer chips, and our Class 8 or our trucks, I think it's all sensors. We can't get fucking sensors. You could have your truck shut down for a month over a $200 sensor. And we've got guys doing it right now for sensors. And same with cars. My brother works for Chrysler. Biggest problem they've got is they've got new car orders of upwards back ordered for a year. By the time these people get their new truck, their new pickup truck, it's already the new model years come in, and they're waiting on chips for these pickup trucks, for all the Dodge pickup trucks. China isn't shipping at the moment. All the ports are swamped. You think that's by accident? You think that's by accident? I think China's doing exactly what it wants to do. It's putting the squeeze and the hurt on everybody, because those aforementioned chips and sensors that used to be $200 are now $550. Oh, why? They didn't cost any more to make, right? It's called the squeeze, boys. Squeeze. They know you got to have them, so they're squeezing the shit out of you. You're going to pay. I got a friend of mine, he bought a new truck. This is a perfect example. He bought a brand new truck. Okay, he bought a 2022 Kenworth T8, T680. Paid at that time, paid 245,000 all out the door, 245,000 bucks, right? Now he ordered the truck's been ordered. Now, since the time that he put his deposit down, Kenworth has come back, the Kenworth sales rep has come back to him twice now saying, we need another $11,000. Why? Well, the price of this and this and this has gone up since then, and we have to order those for your truck. Oh, okay. So now it's happened twice now. The price, he is now over 270,000 bucks on this truck. And he's praying to God that nothing else fucking comes back. By the time they get it, it'll be out of date. Yeah, exactly. They are money grabbing everybody. Patrick, you're absolutely right. And they're doing it right under our nose, not under our nose. They're doing it right in front of our eyes. They're doing it right in front of us, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. Absolutely nothing. Because what are you going to do? You're going to boycott? Oh, stop buying Chinese products. Good luck. You'll starve. You'll starve to death. Because you won't be able to fucking work. You won't be able to drive. You won't be able to do anything. You won't be able to watch TV. You won't be able to talk on your cell phone. You won't be able to look at me on your device that you're looking at. That's the most important thing, right? You make sure you got your device to watch me. You won't be able to, you won't be able to put your raid in a can or your off in a can. You won't be able to anything. You won't be able to do anything, and they know it. And this is the buildup. They built up to this. We were set up 20 years ago for this. Would it be better to buy a semi pre-2910? You mean 2010? No, if you're going to buy a semi, buy it prior to 2006. 2010, they didn't have the DEF, but they still had EGR, and they still hadn't worked out all the bugs with that, the EGR cooler and the EGR valve and the DPF filters. So if you want a true pre-emission truck, you have to go, I think now it's pre-2006. If you want to be really safe and go pre-emission, anything pre-2000, 99 or older. Then you're getting a true pre-emission truck. But if you order a truck now, you're right, Mr. B, you might get it by 2910. For the bargain basement price of $541,000.16. Clifton, you're right. They want to start charging each person for their carbon footprint. Curtis, EGR came out in 03 and DPF in 07. Did you Google that? China shut down its ports. They're preparing for war. Who are they going to war with? Oh. Who are they going to war with? The only ones the Chinese want to go to war with right now is Taiwan. They want to take Taiwan back. Right? That's the only one they want to go to war with. But unfortunately, if they go to war with Taiwan, they're going to be getting involved with the U.S. and the UN and NATO and blah 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 blah. That's a risky. And this is just my opinion, folks. I'm not backing this up on any kind of numbers but in my opinion, that's a risky game to play for a small little piece of real estate that Taiwan is. Is it worth it to the Chinese to go to war with the US and NATO and everybody else? Is it worth it? if China attacks Taiwan, North Korea will attack South Korea. Who knows? Dude, that's like saying if the Chinese invade Taiwan, then the Russians are going to invade Poland. Well, they've already invaded, already. But it could open up a whole world war to everything else. Now, this is a real bummer, and we're not even going to talk about this because this will like throw a drain on the whole night. But I really hope it doesn't happen. I'm sure you all hope it doesn't happen, but the Taiwanese definitely hope it doesn't happen. Then Russia will support China and North Korea through supplies. I can see them supporting China because China can afford to pay the bill. North Korea can't afford to pay the bill. The Russians are almost broke. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this war with the Ukraine and all of the sanctions and all of the stuff that's been put on them, their economy is in a downward spiral right now. The ruble is worth almost nothing. They can't sell anything to anybody except China or maybe North Korea, and North Korea can't afford the bill. Their money is no good, right? North Korea's money is no good. So they can call up Russia and go, okay, we need 7,000 tanks, we need 5,000. They can't pay the bill. The only one that can pay the bill would be China. If Russia merged with China, they would sweep the world. That'll never happen, Mighty Motive. For the simple reason there's two egos, two countries with massive egos, and they won't play. They may get together for the short term, but the long term they can't, right? Because the Chinese will have a different long game than the Russians, and they will have a different game plan than the Russians, and it won't work. Clifton, if they take our Second Amendment, then it would be. Okay. Clifton, I don't know, as a Canadian, and I'm only looking on the outside in, even if they took your Second Amendment right away, let's just say fucking somehow or another it happens, there are still, and where did I see this? There are more guns in the private sector in the United States than there are in the U.S. military. The private citizens in the states own more guns than the U.S. military does. If they take your Second Amendment right away to bear arms, how many of you are actually going to walk up and go, okay, here, have them? I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. Yeah, Mr. Beast, you're right. China is more interested in the Silk Road than being at war. If China thought tomorrow that it could go out and conquer the whole world, it would probably do it. But it can't. Sorry, I just had a mosquito or something fly in my ear. It can't. Okay, it just can't. It doesn't have the military. It doesn't have the resources and everything like that. Okay, and again, I'm just talking for myself here. The Chinese could not do it. If they thought they could, they probably would if they could go out and rule the world, but they can't. So is it in their best interest to go to war with the United States? No. No. The United States keeps the Chinese fat and comfortable. Canada, as small as we are, we still keep the Chinese fat and comfortable. There's no way that China wants to go to war with the United States. Yes, the damage would be massive on both sides. But regardless what anybody says about the Chinese and how technologically advanced and whatever they are, the US military is still, even if they're underfunded, the US military is still 10 times better. Even though there's more Chinese, the US military is still 10 times better than the Chinese military. It wouldn't be a fair fight. Curtis, let's talk about Caterpillar brought back the C-15 with full emissions. They already have a C-15 variant with full emissions for off-road use. I don't think, that's a great idea, Curtis. I don't think Caterpillar has an interest in coming back into the trucking market. I really don't. I think that they've taken their application and gone off on, like you said, the off-road and into the construction. And I think they are making so much money there that they don't want to get back into the play market with the trucks, because then they would be having to open up a whole new area again that they've already shut down. The money it would take to get back into it, and on top of that, they'd still be the new kid on the block. They're going to have issues. They're going to have problems. They're going to have recalls. They're going to have warranty issues. They're going to have all the shit, and they don't want that. Caterpillar right now is in a very, very good position. I didn't check their stock this morning, or actually I haven't checked it this week, but I do know, okay, that Cat is in a very good financial position because of what they're doing. I don't think they have any interest in going back into the Class 8 or the heavy truck application. They're going to stick with construction and heavy machinery. And I wouldn't blame them if they did. Hi, Toke. Ooh. Our military runs on fuel, and right now the clown in charge is emptying our strategic fuel supply daily. That fuel is supposed to be used for war only. I didn't know about that. Sorry, man. That's, again, being a Canadian, I wouldn't know something like that. And you are right. That's why China said that it would be suicide for them to invade. You have to remember, before armies, they were militias. And militias were me and you and able persons. The U.S. military has their own fuel to last 10 to 15 years if needed. Curtis, I don't know where you get that from. I don't know. Again, I'd be speaking out of ignorance if I tried to answer that. I don't have a clue. The Chinese have control of the Bagram Air Force Base over there in Afghanistan, not the Taliban. See ya, Patrick. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, brother. I was told by a ex-US vet. Oh, well, he could be right. I don't know. I don't know. Green Earth Rebirth. Do you know what the Samson option is? No, I do not. I do not know what the Green Earth, I do not know what the Samson option is. If you can put it up on the screen in less than 5,000 words, please do. That's all that's left. That was the best damn cigar I've smoked in a long time. Listen to my voice. That is a good cigar. From the beginning of this night, listen to my voice is gone. It's Israel's nuclear option. Are you talking nuclear option as in nuclear power for generation for power? or nuclear option as in blow up the fucking world nuclear option. Bombs. So what are you saying? They're get the Israelis want to blow up the world, or they just want to blow up a part of it? As far as I know, Canada's on pretty good terms. No, IH guy, it's not. I sent him one of these. That's Monte Cristo, 1935 Dumas. I sent him one of those. I thought I had a couple other Monte Cristo number 2s. When I was talking to him, I was during that live. I was in the truck, so I didn't know what I had in my humidor. And as it turned out, I only had a couple of the number 2 petites, those 1935. So I sent him a couple of those, and I sent him a Romeo and Julieta Churchill. Great big fucking thing. Great cigar, though. Yeah, I think he smoked it yesterday morning. They can't get Cuban cigars in the States, so, you know, if I can help them out once in a while, why not, right? Throw a Cuban at them. Funny, they can get Cuban food in the United States. They can't get Cuban cigars. I can get Cuban cigars, but I can't get Cuban food. Yeah, he did. He actually, like I said, he smoked it yesterday morning. He said it was pretty good. I'll be honest with you. I enjoy Cuban cigars. I really do. They make, and for years, they made the best cigars in the world. But I've said this before. The Hondurans and the Nicaraguans and the Dominicans are now making cigars that are on par, as good as the Cubans. Rocky Patel's a really good cigar, Honduran. There's a whole whack of them out there right now. They're making really good cigars. Ever try Black Gold cigars with wood tips or Swisher's Black Sweets? They are awesome cigars. No, Clifton, I have never tried. I've tried something called, somebody gave me one time, it was like a Swisher, it's called a Swisher Sweet. It was like a cigar like that long and had the plastic tip on it. I didn't really enjoy that all that much. IH guy, you are Canadian, eh? I am glad to hear that. Where are you from? Castro's son, Trudy. Anybody ever see that picture that somebody put up of Castro on the side profile, and then they did Trudeau on the side profile? You hear the shots going off back there? Chatham, Kent. Right on, man. I'm glad you're here. Busy night back there. Anyway, anybody see those profiles? As funny as that was, if you look real close, it could have happened. It could have happened, honest to God. Scorcher's Black Sweets. Do you smoke these things? If Obama had a son, it would be Trudeau. Yeah, well, if Biden had a grandson, it would be Trudeau. Swisher's Black Sweets. I don't know. You know what? If you say they're really good, I might try one. But if someone gives me one, I'll try it. But I've had the Swisher Sweets before. Somebody gave me one with the plastic tip, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I like a cigar where I got to cut my own end. I got to light it and I smoke it. I don't know, call me a snob, I guess. Who is that? Duncan. Duncan was late. Duncan, I'm getting sorry, bro, but I'm getting ready to wind this down. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna reach into the cooler here. And we're gonna open a Coca-Cola. And we've got until I finish drinking this to keep this chat going. And after that, guys and gals, I'm going in to spend some time with my woman. All right, you get a free pass on that. Okay, you're 3 hours behind in BC. All right, I'll give you that. What are we at here? 11 o'clock. Okay, so it's only 8 o'clock there. That's true. I did, eh? On the short that I put up, I said, yeah, it's at 8 o'clock. I guess I should say Ontario time, eh? Sorry about that, Duncan. But now you know. When I tell you 8 o'clock, my time, that's 5 o'clock yours. So you need to get out of work half an hour early and get your ass home so you can get in on this. We need you to be here. You work till 6. Should have been a truck driver. All right, Cliff, I'll give him a try. I'll give him a try. I'll tell you what I think. I'll keep an open mind about it, and I'll give you a try. You want to send me a few? Sure, send me a few. Send me an email. Go to wheelburnerexpress@gmail.com. Just send me an email, and I'll send you my address if you want to send a couple my way. I'll smoke them. I'll smoke them right here, and I'll tell you what I think right on the next live if you get them up to me. I took the day off to be here. Theo, really? You took the day off to be here, did you? Dude, I didn't even take the day off to be here. I rolled into the house here at 8 o'clock this morning. They are hands down phenomenal cigars. All right, like I said, Clifton, just send me an email. I'll reply. I'll give you my address, and you can send something up. Theo, have you been here the whole time? I don't think so. I think Theo's fibbing, everybody. Hey, Mr. Bees, Google that on Theo, would you? See if he's been here the whole time and find out where he actually was, would you please? Would I run a W900 or a W990 if I could get the same fuel mileage? I take the 900 if I could have the studio, but I take the 990 if it was just the same. Believe it or not, the 990 is more aerodynamic than the 900. The 900 is, let's face it, it's like the 379, the W9. There's like pushing a brick through the air. Absolute no aerodynamics. The 990, they did do a little bit of work to it. It does have some bounce to it. Like the air will go around it a little better. So you will get better fuel mileage out of a W990. But if I could get the same economy, if you told me, okay, you're going to get 7.1 miles per gallon out of both, I'm going to take the 900 with the studio. And I just like the look of the 900 better. My favorite truck, as you guys know, is the Kenworth T100. T100? Fucking brain's not working. Never mind. But my second favorite truck is the W9. I've owned two, loved them both. Would definitely have another one. Problem is that well, no, actually, not a problem because you can get the K100. Thanks, Social. I knew you were here for a reason, brother. Thank you. The W990 and the W9. I think I'd get them with the Cummins. I don't have a lot of faith in that PACCAR. Mack Pinnacle. Nothing wrong with that truck, brother. Absolutely nothing wrong with that truck whatsoever. I'd be proud to drive a Mack, especially the older ones. K100 with a chimp as my co-pilot. Tell you what, Social, I'll buy the K100. I'll drive it, and you be the chimp. You'll be the best paid chimp on the market, buddy. I pay well. Ask anybody that's ever worked for me. I do pay well. I don't know anybody that owns a W990. Believe it or not. I don't know anybody that owns a W990. I know that Callie drives he drives a 22 W9. And it's beautiful. He's got the studio. I'm so jealous. The 990 has the air cleaner under the hood. A lot more work to get to, engine work. Just my opinion as a mechanic. I heard that the 990, the engine is set back farther. Is that true? IH, if you're the mechanic? I heard that they're set back and they are harder to work on than the W9s. I know that both my W9s, one had this had the Cat and one had the Detroit, and they were a dream to work on. I had actually on both those trucks, I had engine rebuilds done on them, and they were a dream apparently to work on. But I've heard the W990, the engine's set back a little farther, and they're a bit of a bitch to work on. Now I don't know that. I've opened the hood on one, but I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not a tech guy, so I couldn't answer that. I would run a 4900 with a 60 series. I know that gets 6.5, but he has 850. You know what? Yeah, I love the 4900. Everybody knows that my favorite motor is the 60 series. I love it. I would, if I could put a 60 series, I had a 60 series in the last Kenworth. The best I got out of that W9 with that 60 series. Now I had the 12.7, and that was a bulletproof motor, but the best I could get out of that thing, and I mean, that was milking it. The best I could get out of that was 6.2 miles a gallon. And in today's economy, you can't be profitable. I don't even think you'd break even at 6.2 miles per gallon. Anybody out there right now that's getting 6.2 miles per gallon on their truck, I hate to tell you this, but either you must have a guaranteed bulletproof contract that you're running and making ridiculous amounts of money, because if you're running like I run and you're working the way that we work here, 6.2 or 6.1, like I said before, you know, a couple of years ago, if you were getting 7 miles to the gallon, we were doing backflips and thinking, yeah, we were all the shit. Nowadays, 7 miles per gallon's not even all that great. You know, you need to be running with the price of fuel and the price of everything around us going on. You need to be running 8 miles per gallon plus now to be profitable, to be purely profitable, to make a profit. And when I say make a profit, I mean make a profit. At 6.2, what was I pulling? I was running a Conestoga. I was running flatbed, and we were running a lot of steel, lumber, machinery, tractors. You name it. I was pulling all different weights. I could be pulling anything from 20,000 to 45,000 at any given time. But I guess if you averaged it out, I was probably averaging about 35,000 pounds. And the best I could get out of that, it was a W9. It was a 97 W9, a 12.7 60 series Detroit, 18-speed twin stick with rear end was in it. 370s, 370 rear ends in it, and the best I could do. And I mean, like watching my fuel, watching my RPMs, watching my shifts, never gassing on it, no hard takeoffs at lights. 6.2 is the best I got out of that, and that was a good pay period for 6.2. A curtain side, yeah, Conestoga, sorry, curtain side. A roll tight, whatever you want to call them. James Best averages 6.5 with his T680. Yeah, but from what I understand, it's an older one. Like you look at any of the 16, 17, or 18 T680s, none of those are doing fantastic today. None of those are doing fantastic today. You look at the next gen, like the 22s, or the 20, I know for a fact from down at the truck show that we were at in Toronto, I was in the Kenworth area, as you guys know, because I put up some videos on the T680 and the whatever. But one of the sales guys down there, I've gotten to know pretty good, and Kenworth with they call it the next gen, but the new 22s, they're almost guaranteeing 9 miles to gallon out of that thing. Now, you sit there and go, I can't believe that. That's bullshit. That's nothing. Like, no way but you know what? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, if somebody told me that I'd be driving a 2020 Cascadia getting 8.5 miles per gallon, I'd be going, you're full of shit. Fuck you. Right? So if PACCAR's saying that they're going to pretty much guarantee 9 miles to gallon, then you know what? Who am I to doubt it, man? They could be right. Bust out another Toblerone. No, that last one there was a Hershey bar. And what do we got here? Now we're going with Coffee Crisp. Anybody remember? Anybody old enough to remember that? That commercial? How do you like your coffee? And then the girl piped in and went, crisp. Balwinder, I'm getting 4.7 pulling 4.7 to 5 pulling B trains with a D16 and 600 horse. Okay, you're pulling B trains. So if you come with a set of trains, with a set of joints, you're pulling a combined weight of probably what, 110? I wouldn't expect you to get any. I wouldn't expect you to be getting 8 miles to the gallon, 7, 6. I'm surprised you hit 5. If you hit 5, I bet you that's a good day for you. But you're pulling a set of joints. Did Dar say sex? The hell are you talking about, Robin? 62,000 kilos, 127,000 pounds. Okay. Yeah, you're getting 4.7. That's totally understandable, brother. That D16 motor is a beast, though, isn't it, though? How, I got to ask you, though, how is it getting parts for that thing? I know they're expensive to work on. And how is it getting parts for it if anything goes wrong with it? Is it hard? I got a buddy of mine. He owns the absolute best Volvo diesel shop in North America. It's called Diesel Brothers. His name is Patrick, and he says that they are a charm to work on. They're not bad to work on, but they are a bitch to get parts for. So far, they're accessible. Right on. Are you Canadian? Sorry, are you a Canadian driver? Like, you obviously, if you're Canadian, maybe we're in a better position to get parts. Diesel Brothers is in the States, so I think they've got a bigger parts supply problem than we do on some cases. So I had an option. I had a right on Saskatchewan. I had a I bought a 2014 730 heavy spec, 18 speed heavy spec, but it had the D13 in it. And then I had an option 2 years ago. There was two of them for sale at Expressway up in Ayr, Volvo, and they were 730s. They had really low mileage on them. They both had like 200 and something thousand kilometers on them, and they had D16s in them, and they were up for sale and they were cheap. And I was thinking about maybe taking the chance and going after it. All right, Curtis, have a good night. It's good talking to you. Glad you jumped on board. Thanks for coming on, man. And I had a chance to buy them and I didn't. And I don't know if that was a good call or a bad call. I did a lot of research on that D16 motor. When they're healthy, they're probably they're an absolute monster. But when they are not healthy, and it's keeping them healthy, is from what I understand, keeping that D16 healthy is not easy. It's not a motor that likes to play well with others. So, yeah, my I had a D13 in mine. Like I said, I was heavy spec'd. I had 46 rears, 14.6 steers, and I was double framed. We were doing some serious overkill with the work we were doing, and. Yeah, the best I got out of that, I blew it up actually at one point, but I bought it new in 14 and 18. The motor cacked, I blew it up, but the best I ever got out of that was 7. But I wasn't pulling 127,000 pounds either. I try to keep the under 15. Well, remember, okay, Volvo motors are, and they're now the Packars are like this too. Volvo motors are low RPM, high horsepower torqued engines. So unlike Cummins in Detroit, where you wind them out to 15 or 1600 RPM, Volvos don't. They produce and they get the best economy and produce for horsepower. You can lag a Volvo motor down to 900 RPM before you got to drop a gear when you're going up a hill. A lot of guys don't know that. But that's what's actually recommended. Most guys, they start dropping, the RPM start dropping, they're climbing, going down a hill, and they start, as they're going up the hill, the RPMs are dropping, they get to 13, they get to 12, bang, they drop a gear. No, you can take that truck all the way down to 900, and it's perfectly fine, and it's happy doing it. A lot of people don't know how to drive those Volvos properly, especially if they're manuals. If they're automatics, you got the I-shifts in them, then you don't have to worry about it, but because it'll do it by itself. But the manual transmissions on those, a lot of people don't know how to drive Volvos properly. They're good trucks. They work well when they work, but you got to know how to drive them properly. Yeah. Yeah, okay. My brother had an 03 W9 with C15, 475, 18, 355, 322.5 rubber, pulled curtain side, and he got 6.5 all day with Challenger. You want to know something about the C15 motor? It didn't matter whether that motor was loaded or whether that load was empty. You always got the same fuel mileage. It was one of those funny things about the C15 motor. It was a buster. It really was. It did really well. IH, you got an 03 W9 355s. You got 6.5. For that setup, that's good. You can't complain about that. That's not bad fuel mileage for an 03 truck, especially if he's got 355s. Those are a little bit long. Those gears are a little bit long. If he's working for Challenger, he probably should have been set up with 370s, maybe 373s. He might have got a little better, but 6.5 is good. Volvos are also good on boats. Yeah, Volvo has that Volvo motor with the marine cam. My God, they're absolutely gorgeous. I was driving a company truck with a DD15 505, was getting about the same as my Volvo. Bellwinder, I've got a 2020 Cascadia. It's got the DD15. I took it from 505 because out of the factory it comes at 505, and when I bought it, it was already a year old. But I took it from 505. I took it down to 465, and I took the torque down to 1680. It was set at 1780. I took it down to 1680. I readjusted my entire truck for fuel mileage. That's all I'm doing. I'm not racing up hills. I'm not going for big horsepower pulling and torquing great big heavy loads. I pull 80,000 pounds is the max I pull. So I set my truck up for fuel mileage and fuel economy. And right now my truck is running me, 8.5 to 8.8 miles per gallon. And so in my eyes, in my opinion, I succeeded in doing what I wanted to do with that. You can easily set up a DD15. If you leave a DD15 at 505 and keep your torque high and all you're pulling is 80,000 pounds, you're not going to get the best performance out of it. Your Sandra is always leaking. Fuck. Fuck, Robin. Okay. I drive, by the way, 90 to 100. You know what, dude? I keep my truck castrated. We were talking earlier. I keep my truck governed at 65 miles an hour. Like 105, 106 clicks, 106 clicks, whatever. But I do that for my personal reasons. But I drive my truck on cruise control as much as possible. Like, unless I'm in the city going up a ramp or down a ramp, my truck has got the cruise on. And I'm sitting between 63 and 65 miles an hour, usually 63 miles an hour. That is where I sit. And I am set up for fuel economy. You might get there 45 minutes before me, and you're going to beat me up every single hill. I'm going to have $500 more fuel in my pocket than you are. And that's what I go for. Biggest issues new drivers have is they want to put the biggest tire they can on their truck and wonder why they're going through lots of fuel and not making money. That's exactly true. And with big trucks especially, we run 22.5s, we run 22.5 low pros, and we run 24.5s. And a lot of people don't know what they'll do is they'll go from 22.5s, or let's say they buy the truck and it's got 22.5 low pros and they go to regular 22.5s. You need to go into the computer and configure that because your turn, right? Your spin changes, right? Guys, I've had a guy come to me and go, oh, my RPMs and my speed don't match what they're supposed to be doing for blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so I go through everything that they've done. And the simplest reason is they went from a 22.5 to a 24.5. The computer doesn't know the difference, right? It doesn't know the difference. So you need to go into the computer and program that. So when you can go, if you own a Freightliner or a Kenworth, you take it into Kenworth and you tell them, okay, I've just gone from 22.5s to 24.5s. They go into the computer and there's something in there and tire revs change the tire size. You're right. IH guy, you know what I'm talking about. I could bring my truck in. I've got 22.5s on mine, regulars. I don't have low pros. But if I put 24.5s on, I could bring it into your shop and you'd have to go into my computer and you'd have to reconfigure to put the 24.5s on. Am I correct? You have 373 rears at 100. I am at 1400 RPM. Yeah, it's a little too high. I like to keep my Volvo. When I was running my Volvo, I used to like to keep it around, well, when I'm driving, like cruising, used to like to keep it at usually about 1300 RPM. You got 24.5s on it. Yeah. I wonder if companies will stop hiring owner-operators who don't have fuel-efficient trucks soon. Yes, that is coming. And basically, what they're doing to make it so they don't hurt people's feelings is they're just saying that they don't want trucks that we can't have a truck on our fleet that's more than 4 years old, right? So that's what they're doing, and they're just saying, and part of it's true, and I understand it, is with the older trucks, they're got more loads left on the side of the road where they have to go recover it because the owner operator's truck broke down with a, say you got a 10-year-old truck. A 10-year-old truck is more likely to break down than say a 3-year-old truck. So that's why they say that. I can't see it for insurance reasons. An older truck would certainly be cheaper to insure, but I think that's what they're doing as well. They want owner operators that are, and they would prefer owner operators with upwards of no older than 4 years old. I know that I think Transex, you got to be no more than 4. Challengers, no more than 4. Titanium, I think is 3. I could be wrong on that. Maybe 4. Most of them now are 4. A couple of them are 5. But they don't want trucks out there that are burning a shit ton of fuel. They want the fuel efficient trucks. If I was a company owner and I owned and I had a fleet of trucks and I was taking on owner operators, I would too. Cargo Tool Shop. I see 10 times more trucks from 2007 and newer on the hook than old trucks. Yeah, you know what? I don't need that. Or I don't need that. I don't doubt that at all. The trucks that were built, I want you to think about this, okay? I had a 97 W9 and it was a great truck. It's still on the road today. I sold it to a guy out in Nova Scotia. It's still working today. It's minimal maintenance, minimal everything, and that truck is still running. It's 25 years old. Okay, I could go in today right now and buy a brand new Kenworth W9. I guarantee you 25 years from now, that truck will not be on the road. The shelf life on the trucks that we have today is 8 years. 8 years. Within 8 years, the motors are burnt. DPF systems are burnt. Everything on it is burnt, and the parts are falling off it. So there's no way in hell that a truck bought today is going to be on the road 25 years, unless you drive it on weekends and then you park it in your barn, in a heated barn, in between times. That is the only way that is ever going to happen. But if you've got a working truck like we all do, you don't have it. Why do you think companies will buy trucks, right? They buy like the fleets. Sorry, I got ATVs going by. Why do you think companies that buy them, they flip them after 3 years? ET does it. Transex does it. A lot of companies do it. They buy them 3 years later, on the 3-year anniversary, they're selling them. Why? Because after the 3-year mark is when the nickel and diming starts, and they want to unload them while they still have warranty on them and let the nickel and diming and problems be somebody else's problem. That's why they do that. Absolutely. Again, if I was a fleet owner and I owned a fleet of trucks and blah, 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 I would do the exact same thing. Okay. I would milk the best years out of the truck. And then as those years slowly decline, you get rid of the truck. Thank God my wife doesn't do that with me, but simple math, Mr. B. I have my master in flipping switches. Debbie Atkins. Debbie, oh, you're out of here. Okay. Later. You guys don't mind if I eat this while you talk amongst yourselves if you want to. Healing frequencies of higher vibration. That is a hell of a handle. That is a hell of a handle. Well, hello to you too. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, but mine's only a 5-speed, Robin. No, IH, it doesn't. It doesn't. I know we've got, I think we've got one guy, he's got a 260, 266. Got another guy with a 264. No, I don't think they put a wheelbase on it. I've got a 244 wheelbase on mine. Robin, you got nothing better to do tonight? Healing frequencies. Yeah, you know what? We don't do this very often outside. Usually we're inside, but we got a nice night here. Through the fire together here, and I would say it's probably still about 17 or 18 degrees out here. I'm still shorts and t-shirts sitting here, and I'm comfortable. I'm not cold. Robin does not make me uncomfortable, dude. It takes a whole lot more than that. Mr. B, you know what, man? I think we may not have solved them, but we put a big dent in a bunch of them. I appreciate everything you said here tonight. Thanks for keeping us honest, and thanks for the questions. Thanks for the feedback. No black flies tonight. No, I got nothing going on. The only thing out tonight are the skeeters, and I literally showered in this. My son-in-law threw this at me before I came out, and it actually really worked really well. So I literally showered in this, and they haven't touched me. So I've been good all night. They may have gone after the chocolate bar, and that I've been smoking cigar as well. The smoke from the cigar, they won't come near when I'm smoking. Mosquitoes are a bitch. They really are. They do suck, but you know what's worse are black flies. When mosquitoes bite, they don't actually bite you. They sting you, right? They put their thing in, they suck their blood, and then they bugger off. When a black fly bites you, it's a bite. The thing has a mouth on it like that, and it actually goes chomp and bites you. Bill Gates and his GMO mosquitoes. Healing frequencies, your message, I don't know if it's your typing or if it's, I'm only getting half your message on my screen here. Like I'm seeing half of the words. I just woke up, lost my 25-year-old. And then I know there's more, and then it says Army Ranger came home, and then it stops. I know there's more. Duncan, you're absolutely right. Trudeau does both. Sucks and bites your wallet. Yeah, well. Let me just tell you this right now. If Trudeau was drowning in my swimming pool over there right now, if he was in my swimming pool and he was drowning, the only way I would save his life would be to take my foot off his head. Period. Done. Well, Bellwinder, we all agree with Duncan. You just heard what I said. If he was in my pool, the only way I'd save his life from drowning would be to take my foot off his head. Yeah, or cut the rope from the brick that's holding him on the bottom of the pool. But I wouldn't do it. Trudeau was arrested. There's photos of him with ankle bracelet. Where did you see that? Where did you see that? I would love to see that. Trucker gal. Yeah, we are. We got a beautiful night. Actually, if I put the fire out, we've got a clear night too. And we're out in the country, as you can tell. There's no city here. Um, the stars are lit. The sky is lit right up right now. Yeah, it is absolutely gorgeous out here. Um, we like to come out here at night and just sit here. No lights, no nothing. Turn all the lights off in the house and just sit here. And literally, after about 10 minutes of sitting here and your eyes adjust, like the stars out here light up everything so bright. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. We love it out here. That's why we came out of here. Well, that's why we came here. Mr. B, we don't even have a breeze. Dude, we got nothing. IH, I'd like to hope so. I'd like to hope so. This fucking mandate has got to end soon. We were talking earlier on Monday. The Conservators are tabling something in the House, and they're saying that they want to go back to pre-COVID, the way they were doing business with the borders and crossing the borders and everything like that. And they're going to try to appeal to Trudeau to lift the remaining mandates. So if on Monday, and if by chance any of this goes through and we can cross the border, I will be going back across the border so fast it's not funny. Absolutely, in a heartbeat, I'll be going back across the border. But as it sits right now, bro, I am destined to run across Canada and pay way too much for fuel. Ruby, I absolutely agree. Ruby Dynamite. That's a hell of a handle there too. Ruby Dynamite. I don't know if that should... That's like one of those things on Facebook. If you take this name and that's your porn name. Ruby Dynamite. Now on the stage, we've got Ruby Dynamite. Those mofo politicians are full of BS. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that 100%. Remember, don't vote for the one you like the most. Vote for the one you dislike the least. Robin, we were talking rubber size, right? Yeah, we were. Why don't you pipe in there and tell us all about your rubber size there, Robin? We're waiting. Who wrote that? Monkeypox may be real, but pox is a sit effect of the vaccine. It is then 10-page report of side effects of Pfizer. I don't know about the monkeypox deal, dude. Be honest with you. And if it's a side effect of the vaccine, I don't have to worry about it because I don't have the vax in me. Trucker gal, why can't drivers start their own association? Okay, you need to define association. You mean like unite and form an association, like a drivers association to represent drivers, or drivers association to represent sort of like a union? Which way do you mean? I need to know that before I can give you a definitive or maybe a stupid answer. I don't know. It'll be out of my head. Grandpa always said to vote for the guy that's not in power. They can only do so much damage in 4 years. Well, Duncan, if you're in a position to maybe talk to your grandpa, maybe tell him that the last 4 years of the monkey that we got in power right now has almost killed us. So be very careful when you're thinking like that. Okay, so, sorry, I gotta get back to Trucker Gal. So you're thinking about why, so basically you're asking why can't drivers start their own associations? Why can't we unite? We could. If truck drivers first of all, would stop being fucking so wimpy and crybabies, or start being like crybabies. If they could take their egos out of the equation, and if they could take the I know it all out of the equation, they probably could. Nevada, glad you're here. Thanks for stopping in, bro. It could probably happen. But unlike everything else, you need, with an association, if the truckers are going to have an association like that, you're going to need leadership. Then you're going to need dollars. Then you're going to add money into the equation. Then you're going to add somebody's going to want to run this association. Then you've got egos, money, power. You've got there's too many things involved. There's too many negative things involved. And truck drivers, a lot of truck drivers are truck drivers because they're not people. I'm not a people person. Believe it or not. As I talk to all of you. But Mr. Bees, you're right. In technical terms, it's a union. All it takes is one YouTuber with balls to start leadership in trucking. I think we got this. I think, and it's just my opinion, I think it's a lot harder, and there's a lot more to it than that. Honestly, it really is. I would love to, I would love to say that, if it happens, would I get on board with it? Certainly. But with any association, there's always an agenda. I'd have to know what the agenda is. What is the association representing? You can't tell me, you can't sit here and say, well, the association is there to represent the drivers. The drivers what? Their needs, their wants, their desires, their fucking what? Their fuel costs, there's so much. It would be so hard. But if it ever happened, would I look at it? Sure. Why wouldn't I? Of course I would. It'd be stupid not to. Of course I would. I think I'll be like Moses and go part the sea. Robin, before you go, I got to ask you a serious question, okay? This is from me to you. Just pretend there's nobody else in the room here, okay? The ladies in the room, if you're sensitive, cover your ears. Robin, I have a question. I want to know, bud, have you ever seen the serial number on a condom? I want to know if you've ever seen that. Mr. Bees, Hoffa had more power than the president at one point. I believe that. That's why they buried him. I know we're truckers, goddammit. I just gotta, you know what? The one time I don't say that, and then I make an offhand comment that's off, and I've got a real pissed off woman. I've got a real pissed off truck driver woman. I know what it's like when I piss off my wife. You think I want to piss off a woman truck driver? Forget it. I'd end up in the rhubarb on the 401 sometime. You kidding? Women hold grudges, man. I ain't messing with that. I've been married a long time. I know the rules. Ain't gonna go down in my house. All presidents after Reagan are raw. Oh, I can't. Again, you're getting cut off. I don't know why your message is getting cut off. The answer is, Robin, is because you've never had to roll it up that far. And you go to bed. I'm not pissing Dar off. I'm just making sure I don't piss off Trucker Gal. It's not in my interest to piss off the female population. I've only got maybe a dozen women on my channel. I don't want to piss them off. I would rather have 25 pissed off guys than 12 pissed off women. You know that? And any of you out there that have been married as long as I have, you know that. You know I'm right. There's no arguing here. At 10 o'clock at night, clothes on the floor, where are you? I got quarter to 12 here, dude. Guys are easy, just buy them a beer. Yeah, 10-4. I got you on that. Women, not so much. Yeah. Last time I just walked in the door after doing a big screw up, I walked in with a beer and said, "Hey, babe, I'm here." It didn't go well. Yeah, buy them a house. When I was young, this is before I met Dar and previous wives, I used to have a saying. It was every time I'd see a good-looking girl, I go, "Okay, there's my future ex-wife. I think I'm just gonna go buy her a house and give her half my shit now and leave." Pretty much how it worked out until I met Dar. We've been together. Dar and I have been together almost 20 years now, so it's working. Oh, Bohemian groove. All right, well, guys, I know we got a real good deal going here, and I'm really enjoying this, but I gotta call this a night. We've been going for 3 hours here. We're coming up on 3 hours. I'm gonna go in and say hello to, thank you. See there, Dar, 19 years in July. Love you, baby. She's in the house. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up, eh? It's 3 hours here. I'm gonna go in and spend a little time with her. It's a quarter to 12. Trucker Gal, good night. You guys all have a good night. Man, you guys be safe. The highways are getting crazy. The highways are getting bad. Be safe out there, whether you're driving a car or whether you're driving a truck. Watch the price of fuel. And guys, we've got another couple of videos coming out this week. And then we will see you guys, next Saturday. Next Saturday night. So, talk to you later, guys. I'm out of here. Later.